Let's get down to ground level. Tommy Brown is going to join us right across the evening here on this night grand final at the Gabba. He's been based on the Gold Coast for the entire AFL season. Tommy, any news that we need to hear from? On you, Tommy. Nice start from you, Tommy. We'll get back to Tommy Brown shortly. Just asleep at the wheel there,
Fine
Tommy.
news though, Jake. Must have been
much going on. It's the story of the day, and that is Nick Floston has had his house set alight down in Torquay. His vision of an arsonist. What a peanut who's decided that was a good idea. So not sure Nick Floston needs to deal with that on grand final day.
Were you a wolf mother man, Nath, back in the day?
I was, Jim. A very big wolf mother man. I've been keeping an eye on that. I thought he did a great job.
Did you?
He's the only one I've known so far.
Yeah,
it was a rare crew.
Me too. I agree with you, by the way, Duke. Why would you think that that's the correct way to behave? Let's hope that CCTV vision's really clear and he gets nabbed. And the book gets thrown.
Yeah, nice little 10-year stint in the big house potentially, Duck, for that.
Good to see that. The yaks have gone on. Damo this morning was all doom and gloom. He had the grand final being cancelled today.
Damo did.
He did too.
He's like, there's going to be an electrical storm and there's a chance it could be cancelled. He just straight to the negative.
He kept pulling the reason that he'd lived there for 10 weeks. He was an authority on electrical storms in Brisbane. He'd lived there early on in his life. And no one else could have an opinion on the electrical storms in Queensland.
Very easily scared, Damo.
Given what we've gone through this year, and he wants to bring an electrical storm to stop the grand final.
He also MC'd a function.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Damo's doing MC
imagine
work.
If you paid your good money, you pile into the Gabba, you're sitting there going, I'm ready for a rocking afternoon function, and you look up and there's Purple running.
Well, that's a part of why BT got upset, because BT tried to undercut him.
He did. Tried to slip him.
So Damo got the gig. BT said, I'll do it cheaper.
Yes.
And then they said, no, we want Damo.
That can't be true. That cannot be true. I understand why he stormed off after that.
He was flattened early by that. And
he had the main channel issues too, JB, I believe.
He wasn't on the main channel.
He might have tried to
He wanted more airtime.
Might have tried to undercut you once too, Jim.
He did. He did.
Let's get back inside the Gabba. I want to come back and hear more about that story. Tommy Brown is ready to join us. Tommy, welcome to you.
Das, it's great to be here. I'm standing in the forward pocket, the entertainment taking place as we speak. The rain has eased and almost stopped. There's a big smoke haze now from some of the pre-game entertainment. I think they had more rain this afternoon in a 2-hour period in Brisbane than they had in the combined previous 6 months. But from a Bureau perspective, the AFL will maintain close contact with the Bureau of Meteorology tonight. Any threat of lightning has abated or subsided, at least for the moment. And I must say the conditions are a little bit better than what I expected. But an incredible atmosphere here. Coming into the ground, there was like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of supporters from both respective sides. I think Queenslanders have almost adopted a side tonight because the stadium itself is a sea of black and gold and also blue and white, reflecting Geelong. And I just can't wait. I think the AFL, in trying circumstances, has done a great job with this pre-game entertainment. It'll have some knockers, no doubt, but from a spectacle perspective, particularly those lights, it's already fantastic.
And Tommy, just look at the live pictures. There appears to be no need to cancel the game, as Damien Barrett wanted earlier today. Looks like the rain has subsided, has it?
No, we all sometimes overbake the threat of lightning, Das. I reckon I might have been a bit guilty of that earlier on as well. But no threat of lightning for the moment. And, Duck, I have seen BT in the last few minutes. I just came down from the 7 box. He was doing a bit of a roaming as I was getting a bit of a touch-up of makeup. And he was speaking to Vossi and Hodgie. And he did a little roaming that's gone online. He's in good form. He's all ready to go.
All right, here come the Cats onto the Gabba. There is the little master, Gary Ablett, in his final game. So much focus on that man for Coates High. This is Triple M Footy Preview, Grand Final Day 2020, and it looks magnificent at night time. Duck, Juddy, Nath Brown are with us, the Triple M Super Special Comments boys for the Grand Final. I just love seeing the biggest game and the spectacular look at night time. Makes sense to me, Nate.
It looks great, doesn't it? It looks absolutely fantastic, and well done to Queensland for putting this on and saving our season pretty much. But these players, it's going to be hot early because it is wet and it's going to be hard to control the football, and you need players like Gary Ablett, who is a one-touch player, Joel Selwood, who's a one-touch player. Looking forward to seeing Dustin Martin play, and obviously heard a whisper that maybe Luke Dalhouse does a defensive half-forward role on Basher Hooley, who's been so good in all their grand finals. Hasn't had less than 15 disposals at any final he's played, Basher Hooley.
Good start.
runner-up in both the Norm Smiths medals. Only Dusty Martin has stood between him and a couple of Norm Smiths. Juddy, that's good grand final form.
It is, and Duck made the point this morning, it might have been off air, that the half-backs have often played really well in grand finals, and it's true, they often get a lot of Norm Smith medal votes, but generally it's your attacking mids that end up winning the award. So be interesting to put that in your formula when you're looking at Norm Smith punting.
Well, if you look at over the years, Joe Hennison won off half-back, Hodges won a couple of Hurley's come runner-up twice off half-back, so there's been plenty. Ayresy won 2 from the back pocket, so it goes back a long way. Back flankers, they poll well.
And Damo's voting tonight as well.
Is Damo
Damo is voting on the Norm Smith medal tonight, so it just elevates that a little bit.
A bit of pressure goes on you when you're voting for that. It's probably the one thing that
you don't want to muck that up.
Because it's in the paper the next day, and you want to get it right. Ruck battle tonight, Duck, going to be massive. Now Richmond ranked 16th in clearances the whole year. All of a sudden in the finals, they matched Brisbane, they beat St Kilda, plus 12 against Port Adelaide. Reece Stanley, though, has been brilliant this year, pushing forward, and I imagine he's going to want to do that on Nankervis, who's not the quickest player, but tell you what, Reece Stanley is lightning when he gets going.
Well, he's got to use his athleticism, and then when Nankervis sits behind the play, they've just got to make sure that he doesn't mark it like he did last week. But Tom Hawkins, obviously a key in the ruck as well. He's absolutely brilliant, Dars, for a forward ruck. He dominated that area
strong
last week.
He manhandles the big ruckman.
He takes front position. You just can't get it off him once he's there.
You saw the big fella from Brisbane last week try to take back position to push him into the ball, but it didn't work. And then the other ruckman came in and tried to take back front position, and that didn't work either.
And just for the ruckman for boundary throw-ins, as the game goes on, the little boundary umpires get tired, Darth, as well, and their throw-ins become shorter. So if you're behind, you've got no chance of getting to the footy.
One of my pet hates in the game, Duck, the ruckman stand 35 metres back, never get to the contest, and Tom Hawkins has become an absolute weapon in that forward line. You'd like to think, Juddy, you do some planning around that tonight, because he's set up many, many goals by just grabbing the ball clean out of the ruck for the boundary throwing.
Yeah, I suspect Richmond would have done a fair bit of work on stoppages this week, full stop. I think for Geelong to win, they need to absolutely dominate that area of the ground. They are a great stoppage team, but I think that's the one area where they need to get a hold of Richmond if they're a chance to.
They rank number 1 in the AFL, Duke, 4 scores from stoppages in their forward half, the Cats, so they do it very, very well, and Tom Hawkins is the main part of that.
We are pumped. Night grand final, JB, the Duck, Juddy. We've got Nate Brown, the two-man, Tommy Brown at ground level. And for McDonald's, take the heat off the new McSpicy Burger from Macca's. We're not far away, building up to the 2020 Toyota AFL Grand Finals. Thanks to McDonald's, Triple M rocks the Grand Final.
The Triple M footy preview for Coates Hire. Whatever you need, Coates Hire can make it happen. Search Coates Hire today.
For McDonald's,
Triple M rocks the Grand Final.
All right, Duck, need to sort this out right now. Is it Palmy versus Palmer? It's the classic rivalry. What do you go with?
Yeah, it's the classic rivalry, Das.
Doesn't matter which side you're on. I think we all agree that it's the perfect feed, Duck.
Oh, discover the seriously delicious, saucy Palmy burger at Macca's.
We've got our sort of Macca's coming very shortly here to sort us all out for the grand final. Part of the all-new chicken menu. It's made with 100% Aussie chicken, Duck.
Yeah, we've already had some today, Das, but it doesn't matter what side you're on. Get into Macca's and try the saucy Palmy burger.
A new Macca's chicken menu that's here to stay.
Now, that's too good to keep to yourself.
There's no doubt everyone is feeling impacted in some way by coronavirus. From financial stress to relationship challenges, our days look very different. It's normal that so many of us are feeling a little overwhelmed or completely out of our depth. That's why Beyond Blue has developed the Coronavirus Mental Wellbeing Support Service. It's free and available 24/7. So if you're feeling unsure about how to cope, chat to one of our expert counsellors by calling 1-800 512 348 or visit coronavirus.beyondblue.org.au.
Triple M rocks the Grand Final.
This quarter for Choice Hotels. Book direct at choicehotels.com for hotels across Australia for the lowest prices guaranteed. Terms apply.
Just a little short break because it's grand final day, Nate Brown, and we want to get straight back into it for Coates Hire.
That's nowhere near long enough.
This is the Triple M footy preview into the grand final. Whenever you need a Coates Hire can make it happen. Search Coates Hire today. Both sides out onto the ground. And all of a sudden the night sky looks clear and a beautiful image over the Gabba that's been the home of football in Queensland for much of the 2020 season, Nate, and we're not far away from the first bounce here in this historic night.
Can't wait for it, Duke. And I'm fascinated, Duck, with the matchup between Tom Hawkins and Noah Bolter. Tom Hawkins, you think he's such a big man, he takes a lot of contested marks and marks on the lead, but he is number 1 in clearances inside the forward 50, and he's also number 2 in the AFL for ground ball gets inside the forward 50. He gets it in the air, does it on the ground. So Noah Bolter, very good player, but this is his biggest challenge in his career.
It is, and the last time he played on him, he had a lot of support, Noah Bolter. I mean, Grimes basically was playing on a first game.
Loose man.
Yeah, and he was a loose man. He got across, supported, but you're right, it's in and around the ruck where he's very, very damaging. But Bolter, big job, because he actually did, if you look at the last time they played, he had him beaten a number of times. And as I said, it was Grimes and others that got across to support him.
Nathan Barrett, I think, told us a week ago, Duke, that he believes it's going to be a grand final from now on, which is interesting. I love the look of this, Juddy. I love the look of it on television. I like the lights. I like the whole theme. I like the whole theatre of a night grand final.
I think, sorry, Jim, I'm with you 100%. I think it looks brilliant. We saw the pre-game entertainment. There was a little bit of confusion about some of the names within this circle, JB, but I thought the look of it...
We're a rock station.
And the way the fireworks lit up and just the visual look of this, I think it's terrific. And I really hope it stays for good.
Yeah, no, I like it. It looks fantastic. Just another one of those matchups, and an ex-player at your old club, Dalehouse. I think he'll get a negating role on Hurley. Hurley, who, as we've said, has played really, really good. Did you say that before? Are you just looking at me a little bit funny?
Keep going, no.
No, I think he might get that negating forward role on Hurley, who's
I was agreeing with you.
So damaging off half-back, as we know. So I think if he can keep Hurley quiet and maybe pinch a goal, then he's done a great job.
Just looking at some serious work going into the Achilles tendon of a player there for the Tigers.
Basher
Hooley, I believe, who's getting that worked over. Now, that doesn't look like something that's a regular occurrence, that, Juddy. Is our medical expert on the panel today. What do you make of that Achilles work?
Yeah, it's a worry, Duke. It's something I'll be looking at. It looks like a heat type of cream, Duke, on the outer gastric, I would have thought, the gastric nemus. And we'll be watching that closely as the game goes on.
You might have caught up on this, but he bumped Dr. Rowan White and said, I'll take care of the medical.
I ran into him yesterday, actually.
Rowan White, did you?
Rowan White,
really?
Yeah, just near the bot. Just out.
Still licking his wounds after Juddy just shoves him off.
Some people aren't comfortable veering into medical territory, JB, but I'm not one of them. I'm happy to put my hand up, and as a self-taught expert, I think the listeners appreciate that.
Well, the great Spud Frawley, of course, spoke for 25 minutes at a 500-strong room as a doctor.
He had doctor on his name badge, didn't he? And didn't think to correct anyone that was the coach. The True Man is here. Great to have the True Man on board. 18th time he's been representing Triple M on Grand Final Day and two-time day, two-time night statistician for the North Melbourne Football Club. Thanks to Movember. Welcome to you, True Man.
Yeah, good evening, Das. Well, as we know, the Cats have a very good record at the Gabba. They've won 5 out of 5 this year by an average winning margin of 53 points. The Tigers have actually won 11 out of their past 12 at this very venue as well. Just a team stat that we'll look out for Geelong. Number 1 for contested ball differential. When they've won that particular stat by 10 or more this year, they've won 11 out of 12. He spoke about Basher Hooley. Past 2 premiership wins, he's averaged 26 disposals and 490 metres gained. And just one final stat, Das. The team that's kicked the opening goal has lost the past 6 grand finals.
It's a remarkable stat, that, isn't it? Opening goal, and then you do not go on to win. In Australia, men account for 3 out of 4 suicides. Go grow a mo to save a bro. Go to Movember.com. Thanks to the True Man with the Triple M Movember stats. Might get back down to Tommy Brown. We'll just keep an eye on Basher Hooley before Tommy having some late work on his calf and Achilles. Anything to tell us there?
Das, I can tell you, as you guys correctly described, he had some pretty intense work done on that Achilles from the doctors and the physios, including, I think, James Rance is one of their physios. He's now warming up really, really well, so there's no sign of any ongoing issues, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it during the night. Just to paint the picture, the atmosphere here is absolutely electric. I know there's some debate, which we've touched on online, about the entertainment, but things are absolutely on edge here. This is just such an exciting build-up tonight. In terms of the preparation, it has been interesting. Richmond spent a very quiet day here in Brisbane, having spent the night here last night. Geelong came up this afternoon. The Tigers had a familiarisation run here on the Gabba yesterday afternoon. I know Geelong's record speaks for itself. 53 points, as Ash reflected on their winning margin average this year, but they haven't had that familiarisation run. But they're just so comfortable here on the Gabba, Geelong. So it's just going to be an incredible night, guys. Tommy Brown for Bob Jane T-Marts. Buy 3, get 1 free on selected performance tyres from Bridgestone and Yokohama. BobJane.com.au. And I'm just looking back again, Nate, and I'm with you guys. I think once you've seen a night grand final, there'll be no turning back for mine. I think the ratings will be enormous.
We understand we're going to need to get every bit of remuneration we can in the game, and it just makes sense. It looks fantastic and here to stay for Mike.
The other thing for me, Duke, and I know they've signed this deal at the MCG till the middle of the bloody century. I said at the time I thought that was a shame because I thought we had the opportunity as a code to take this road show all around Australia. It's gone to Brisbane for the reasons we know. It's been a huge hit this week in Brisbane. This game will be a massive success. The fact, Nath, that we can't do that in Perth, in Adelaide, in Sydney, I think is a real shame.
Once upon a time, Jim, we didn't have the alternate venues to fill it up, but now we've got the Perth Stadium. The Gabba looks great. Adelaide Oval looks unbelievable. So I agree. We should be able to share it around. And, Duck, you're a big advocate for taking the stats of fumbles in a footy game. It's never been more prevalent than this first quarter in the wet in a grand final.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The team that's cleanest will win this game of footy, and the good players get better in the wet, I reckon, and that's why Gary Ablett, I think, is so important, because he just doesn't fumble. So, and Edwards and these sorts of guys, they're just so clean in the wet. Dusty Martin picks it up like it's a dry ball.
Speaking of clean, the Cup ambassador was fairly clean, Simon Black.
I'm not sure he ever fumbled in any game he played in, Simon Black, over 300 games. And
Still looks like he's 22.
Yeah, he looks great, doesn't he? Fit as a fiddle.
Yep.
Carried out on the back of the surf, life-saving surfboard, big part of the Queensland culture up there. So a nice touch with Blackie. Ripping guy, ripping player, Simon Black, presenting the Premiership Cup, and it will be Ash Barty
in Nankervis.
And Ian Nankervis for the Cats. If the Cats win it, we'll hand over the Premiership Cup. A little bit of a storm in a teacup, that wasn't it? It's ridiculous that any of that was an issue. Ash Barty's the world #1 tennis player. I think a fine choice, Duck.
Oh, absolutely, and a massive Richmond supporter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is someone that goes to every game she can. I believe when she's overseas, she gets the live stream, watches everything.
Yeah, fantastic. It'd be great to see Ash Barty as the women's world #1 tennis player presenting the Premiership Cup if the Tigers win tonight. We're just glancing at the screen. Paddy Dangerfield, Juddy, you've done it on the big stage and played your best, but I just get the feeling he's going to be a man possessed today, Paddy Dangerfield.
Yeah, that's one of the exciting subplots, isn't it? To get to see one of the all-time greats on the big stage.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare.
Very nice rendition of the national anthem.
Extra little bit there.
It was good. Tim McCallum is his name. I think he might have appeared on The Voice.
Jeez.
And he had a very nice
his own version at the end there, Jim.
He went again.
He did.
I liked it, Jim.
Interesting, the Cats chose not to hug, Jim. I've always felt that the hugging is a sign of weakness in that national anthem.
I see.
And they chose to stand as solitary.
You like that?
Solitary adult men.
I see.
And the Richmond looked a bit needy as they hugged each other.
The context, the judge wants to bring back the power stance the pros went with, so there's a little insight.
There's not a lot of singers these days. There's not a lot of people belting out the national anthem.
Would we have seen
I would have sung.
the glasses on or off? Because you've sung with the glasses on historically.
Just the glasses off leading into a game.
Couple of Warriors now coming to toss the coin. Look at Joel Selwood. 13 years in his 14 seasons he's played finals. Record-breaking night tonight for Joel Selwood. And Trent Cotchin for the Tigers. Toss the coin.
Oh, you got the coin?
Oh, geez, there was no...
Face this way. Come over here.
No interaction at all between those two.
I liked it.
Joel, your call. Heads.
Oh, it's not even tail.
Tail. It's a tail. Tail.
He wasn't happy with the Toinkos there, Joel.
He wasn't happy with any of that, Sel. Was he? Wasn't happy with Koch. Wasn't happy with the bloke tossing the coin. Wasn't happy with the decision, any of it.
What about the steely look in his eye? His 200th game as captain, Joel Selwood, goes into the third on all-time on that stat. And what a warrior that man has been over many, many years, Duck.
Quite amazing. One of the great leaders I think the game has ever produced, Joel Selwood. But quite amazing that he's played over 300 games, given how he goes at the footy. I mean, to last that long is a freak of nature in itself.
Just hearing that our call is synced perfectly with the TV, so if you feel like being entertained and just hearing the grand final in a slightly more loose and, as you see it fashion, then you can listen to Triple M, of course.
Already got a loose vibe about it.
Well, no Brown brings that.
It was a very serious Dangerfield after the game last week, Judge. And Duck, what did you make of that? Because I felt like he didn't enjoy the moment like he could be. I know he wanted to be really serious going into this game. He's going one more time, but I just wanted him to enjoy it a little bit more. Yeah,
it's interesting because you've got guys like Harry Taylor who you could just see the joy that he knows, and it could be his last game as well. But the joy that he had, and you're right, Danger was very, very...
Is he putting a lot of pressure on himself by doing that?
I reckon he would be, and good, because he's up to that, and he'd be waiting for this moment for such a long time. I think there'd be a part of him that he's just relieved he's finally getting an opportunity, and another part of him that's going to absolutely explode.
And Dalhouse on Hooley.
Starting forward, and Dalhouse has gone to Hooley.
As you predicted, Duck, we've got Nath Brown, Chris Judd, the King Wayne Carey. That's your Triple M Cbus Super Special Comments team. Cbus is super fun. You can trust the Chew Man, Tommy Brown at ground level, and here's James Brayshaw.
Good bounce, gets the grand final underway. It's helped down to Selwood, just a partially smothered ball. Smashed out of a couple of sets of hands. Guthrie just couldn't quite hang on. Broad hovers over the footy at half forward for the Cats. And we'll have it balled up. Big Nank. And also Stanley. Hacked out of there by Cochin towards the wing. Bolton does a good job of getting it down the line towards big Harry Taylor, and that comes off his knee, I reckon, and goes over.
And that passage of play just sums up Richmond. They don't even want to pick up the ball. It's just get the ball forward as quick as they can.
Slippery pill early as well, and how much baby oil the Cats put on it is a lot more slippery.
Enticing matchups everywhere. Harry Taylor on Tom Lynch, as we thought. Look at Selwood smash in, and there's the big Nank. Laid 10 tackles in the prelim finals of Ruckman. Duck, no Ruckman has ever done that before in a final.
You never laid tackles, Dust?
No, it wasn't a big part of the repertoire. So this is Stanley. Slapped it down to Selwood. Jams the left foot. Spiral. About 50 metres, but off the side of his boot, out of bounds on the full. So it'll be Richmond ball at half-back.
No clean possession yet, Duke. You're always looking out to see which team settles first. You have to get a clear picture of that at this stage.
Broad to bring it back in. And he goes with a low sort of semi-penetrator. Slapped on by Revolt. O'Connor out the back. Not a great handball for Guthrie, who could not handle a pretty slippery pill. McIntosh got it forward. Edwards off the ground. And Geelong able to do some nice work off half-back. This is Dalhouse, who's taken in a ferocious Floston tackle. Just got boot to ball. Prestia, did he take the footy over? No. Got it back to Cochin now. The play's called dead. And he'll be thrown in wing half-forward for the Tigers.
Prestia going back into the midfield the last 4 weeks has allowed Shea Bolton to go forward. Shea Bolton been very damaging on that half-forward line. Prestia prolific getting the pill.
Stanley from behind, and Curvis in front. Selwood just hacked it forward. Surged at the centre wing. Broad came out. Dangerfield in the vicinity, but a boundary thrown right alongside the interchange race.
Had a big first minute and a half, Joel Selwood, up to 3 touches already.
So Chris Judd, Wayne Carey, Nath Brown, all on board for the grand final. Here is Edwards. Really well-weighted handball. Enough time to be picked up. Surged forward by Kane Lambert. Henry back there for the Cats. Castagna applied some good tackle pressure. Blitzarves just cruised at the ball and then got it to Henderson. Nice little step from Lockie Henderson. He drives this one out of defence.
He's had a good month. Henderson gets to the back. Floston tried to get past Simpson. Unable to do so. Ball over.
I thought it was almost career best game for Lockie Henderson last week. We've seen him kick some goals when he was a forward, but I thought his work last week was brilliant. He's got the job on Rewalt tonight. Harry Taylor has started on Tom Lynch.
Nath Brown here, Chris Judd, of course, Wayne Carey. What about that for a threesome? Just getting the analysis done. Work to the front by Big Nank. Taken out of it was Selwood. It was picked up by Guthrie. Tumbled it towards Hawkins. Bolter with him. Bolter just off the ground to the fat side. Leading in the race, O'Connor. Shea Bolton just got rid of him. Good pickup by Baker. And now run down is McIntosh. All the numbers on the outer side with the Cats. Harry Taylor slid in. Grant Myers has drawn a free high contact.
And you can see the difference straight away where Richmond they're prepared to tap it on every time. Geelong, complete opposite. They want to bend over, pick the footy up.
Lynch it was who took Myers high. Got the weird sort of round the corner kicking style. This one's a bit more conventional. Kolajasny on the wing. They want a massage here into the centre. Dangerous. Henry couldn't hang on. Blitzard so impressive. Taken in a really good tackle. Should have been holding the ball. Not paid. Pickett. Off a step. Wobbles one. Going to be landing straight into the hands of Henderson.
As you said, what a month he's had, Lockie Henderson. Really resurrected in his career. He was delisted and relisted. In came Dangerfield smashing through, took a big body. Ablett, his first touch, and he's grabbed his shoulder. Gazza's a bit sore behind play. Loston looks knocked out. Dangerfield got him, and Ablett's got his shoulder really sore.
Gee, just having a look at the Postles replay on that hit from Danger. It ended up being a forearm to Loston's head, Duke. Not sure if there was malicious intent, but that is huge contact. Loston looks like he's in trouble.
No, he's tapping it on, Danger.
But a good player to take down, Loston. He's the number one in the AFL to mark the ball from a kick inside forward 50. He is very good at it. If they take him out, that is support that Tom Hawkins doesn't have tonight.
The other story, Gary Ablett now going off.
Is that his bad shoulder? Obviously, he's had it reconstructed. And it looks like...
He looks really sore, Duck.
Yeah.
Really sore, Gary Ablett. What a massive story. Let's get down to Tommy Brown.
Das, Ablett's coming off in front of me now. He's just hobbling off now, assisted by the doctor and the trainer. He's clutching his left shoulder. He's grimacing in pain. And it's not the sort of injury it looks like you'd think he'd get back on any time soon. That's genuine pain. I'll check on which shoulder he most recently had operated on.
And the other story, Nick Loston's got the stretcher out, and he has not moved face down.
So he doesn't come back on. So quite possibly two players out.
So talk us through that again, the elbow of Dangerfield, Ducky.
Well, what it was, he was obviously hitting the footy at real speed. So wanted to tap that footy on Das, and then it was to protect himself. But he has put the elbow up. He has hit Gloston with the elbow, and it's knocked him clean out. Now, it was in the one motion, Juddy. I mean, you do have to protect yourself, but at the same time...
He's going at 1 million miles an hour too.
I know, so you've got a hundredth of a second to make your mind up what to do.
This is massive. Floston cannot, you can imagine, play any further part of the game. He's concussed, and Ablett. Juddy, you've had shoulder issues. Can they get a needle in that and get him back out there?
Well, to be in that much pain as you're coming off with a shoulder, I suspect that was still dissipated as he was coming off the ground, JB. So once that goes in, the pain will subside, and they'll have a crack at getting him back out again.
Correct.
But it'll be pretty sore still, Duck.
I mean, let's not forget what he went through with his shoulder. He was out. It took him a long time to get over that, Das, and his confidence a long time. So if that is the same shoulder, it's whether he can come out and have the impact as well, JB.
Well,
I mean, that's the big thing. And I'm led to believe, I don't know, I don't think he's into getting pain-killing.
I think you may make an exception in this.
Well, you would think so.
Last game of his career, they'd love to have the extra rotation, knowing now that Richmond have got one down. Now, Dangerfield obviously just protecting himself in slow motion. We've just seen the Bosch Tools replay. He hits the ball away, protects himself. I don't think he's got a problem there, Duck. I think that is just in the action of the play, and Dangerfield punched the ball away, still got his arm out, and he's got to protect himself.
What else can you do? Like I said, hundredth of a second just to make your mind up. There's no way he can pull his arm down,
and we've
because
seen
he's
that
punched the ball right next to it.
JB, that is a sickening blow on the head of Nick Flostone. He has been knocked out cold. He's on the stretcher with the neck brace on. Just had a look at the forearm of Dangerfield. There's blood spattered all over the forearm from the collision with Nick Flostone's head. That was like a train crash happening before us, and the boys have called it pretty accurately.
He might have also had just a little help from Dylan Grimes, which he didn't need, and that's just jettisoned him into Floston at the same time. So
you're really worried about him though, Jim. He has not moved still. They're getting him on the stretcher now, but it's been a good 5 minutes.
That's a shame. What about 48 hours he's had.
Pretty bad, hasn't
House burnt down, and now he's been knocked out. Nick Floston, fine young player too, so that's a big out for the Tigers.
Tom Hawkins starts licking his lips now. He knows that that's one player that he had to contend with Noah Boulder tonight. The other one is Dylan Grimes. Now they're a man down in the air.
Well, Grimes was too worried about Dangerfield. That's why I like Dangerfield forward, because he has to concentrate on him and not be worried about being across the third man.
Juddy, what does a break this size do in a big game?
Oh, I don't think it'll affect either of these two sides. They're both similar age and similar levels of maturity, so not like either side had a run on when the other team needed a breather. But interesting to see how Paddy Dangerfield responds. You know, he would have seen how badly hurt Vlastuin is, and he won't know how serious it's going to be. So he'll need to play through that internal battle in his own mind. And interesting to see if the Tigers are angry about what's happened to their teammate, and if that delivers a bit of extra fire in their belly from that.
The unbelievable effort if Gary Ablett gets back out there. He has dislocated his shoulder by the look of it, but as Juddy said, it can pop back in. He's just going to have to play with the pain. Maybe a rotation. Look, 50-50 whether he gets back out there, Duke, but it'd be a massive decision
just
for him.
Just look at the Triple M Bosch Tools replay, though, Brownie. It wasn't a severe, violent incident. I mean, I know you can sometimes land, both you and Duck and Juddy have played with shoulder injuries all the way through. It didn't look like a violent one, did it, where his shoulder obviously popped out?
He's in an awkward position. I suspect we'll see him back out on the ground at some level. That's how effective he is when he comes back out.
Nick Floston moving, which is a good thing. He was out cold for a long time, as Nath Brown said, but he's moving on the stretcher, so he's conscious. He'll go down, but no chance we'll see any more.
No, under the new rules, there's no way. Back in the day, JB, he would have come back on the ground, but not anymore.
So you talk about the fairy tale for Gary Ablett. His first contest, first ball he's touched, now finds himself off with serious pain in the shoulder. And as the boys have pointed out, Nath Brown, Juddy and Wayne Carey, that there will be no further part in this game for Nick Floston. Knocked out. Joel Selwood started with some real impact. He's had the most possessions on the game, and this has been an extensive break in the game while they've had to deal with Nick Floston and take him off on the stretcher.
So it looks like a positional move. Looks like Broad has now gone to Dangerfield. They've made that rollover from Dylan Grimes. So I think Duck and Juddy, they want Dylan Grimes to be that third man in. They want him to probably have the sixth forward or the least dangerous forward. So he will park himself in front of Tom Hawkins now. Broad gets the job on Dangerfield.
So we're getting ready for a restart. There have been some famous players concussed in grand finals over the years. Johnny Platten still can't remember it. Don Pike tried to pick off Gary Ablett Sr., one of the great mistakes he made, and he can't remember any more of the game either, but they both kept playing.
Gavin Brown.
That's just how far we've come as a code, and it's a good thing too. Need to protect players from themselves, Duck, as much as anything else.
No, exactly.
So no score as yet, but plenty's happened.
Because if you asked him now, would you go back on, he would say yes.
Now they're just waiting for the buggy to exit the perimeter of the ground, and then we will get a restart. I think it heads off now. So
wow, what a start.
Jeez. Here we go. Almost got to restart the whole game again. No score. Players have had a big long break.
It's ticked over 7 minutes, JB.
7 minutes. It's amazing, isn't it?
It can be an unnerving thing, though, JB, isn't it? You stick around, you've gone through all your preparation, and it's going to be an interesting 5 minutes coming up right after this. We get the game restarted after a 7-minute interlude. There was talk we might add some storm issues. Instead, big collision has caused it. Blitzarves gets it deep to the forward line. Bolter played it well initially, then the kick smothered on Hawkins. Bashahuli, well tackled by Simpson. Broad onto the ground to replace the injured Floston. Now Marlon Pickett tried to handle it to himself, KB style, but couldn't keep it in. So a boundary throw, about 60 around from the Cats goal.
It's a good first touch from Marlon Pickett. He was very fumbly in the first quarter last week. Couldn't quite adapt to how quick the game was in the wet against Port Adelaide, but that one, first touch, did okay.
Blitzarves, Nankervis. Big Nank gets a hand in there. Cochin slides the handball forward. Dusty for the first time tonight. That was clean too. Cochin taken out of it. Selwood's been everywhere. Got a push as he kicked it. Edwards just spun out without the footy. Parfitt couldn't be clean. Short is... Oh, there's a bounce. There's a second bounce. Then a left foot wobbler will go out of bounds on the full. So the kick, in fact, it's marked just inside the field of play. by Tommy Stewart, who's a very good player.
They've had a real penchant for kicking banana kicks or left foot barrels into their forward 50 so far, Duke. Really a sign that Geelong is setting up well with a loose man behind the ball.
Confidence is short to take a couple of bounces in this wet surface. They came up beautifully. Speaks volumes for the preparation of the Gabba. Dalhouse tackled by Cochin. Umpire letting it go for a wild duck.
Yeah, and holding the ball, and you know what, deserves to be holding the ball. Fumble. One of those fumbles is a clean handball to Dalhouse. He just could not take it cleanly.
They should be taking stats, Duck.
Yep.
Cochin dragged down the free kick for holding the ball. Kicks it in the Lynch direction, spun around, and now Shane Edwards, he had a little fumble as well. Tom Stewart came at him full-bodied. Back there, Henry gets it back to Menengola, squeezes it out of defence. Here's Sam Simpson, Bashahuli, and Graham Myers, boundary throwing. Still no score in this game. We've got 11 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And after an extensive break, the big story, Gary Ablett with a shoulder. Nick Flostone, we think, will take no further part in this game, JB.
They've been taking the legs there too, Tommy Stewart. Might have just dodged a bit of a bullet about 15 out.
I don't think he slid in, JB, and he hit him more in the quad rather than sliding into the shins.
Parfitt broken up, and there's a free kick. What about the game Selwood's playing?
Straight back to him.
Ash, just back me up with some really extensive stat analysis.
Yeah, disposal number 5 already, along with 3 clearances, JB, for Selwood.
Rumps. Big start for the skipper.
On track for about 60, JB.
That's how he's looking. Ball wide, just over the head of Henderson.
They were out there too, JB. That was a good set up from the Cats to cross the ball.
Tommy Brown, down to you.
JB, Ablett's still in the rooms having that shoulder treated. So there's no sign of Ablett now at least 5 or 6 minutes after the incident.
Tommy Brown, Bob Jane T-Marts, buy 3, get 1 free on selected performance tyres from Bridgestone and Yokohama, bobjane.com.au. Neither ruckman from this boundary throwing got their hand on it now. Castagna puts one right up high, only gained about 15 metres. Lynch came smashing through it, centre forward for the Tigers. Simpson had to work it through to O'Connor. Well tackled by Graham. Zach Tui got it back to Menengola. Beautiful little step. Crafted a nice kick too. Good chance coming up for the Cats. Guthrie got it to Mitch Duncan, and look at that kick to Hawkins. Beautiful build-up. Couldn't have got a better kick in the end.
Yeah, it was a great build-up, and they did it by over-handballing the ball in the back half. Normally Richmond take it off you if you do that, but they were clean enough. And Menengola, Guthrie, really good use, and then on to Duncan, who... Well, Hawkins, when you that speed of ball movement, that's what you want as a forward, and that's the sort of space you can get when it is moved quickly.
Coleman medal winner in 2020. Tom Hawkins steps up. He has been the leading goal kicker for the Cats in each of the last 8 seasons. For the first goal of the 2020 grand final, he can get a bit of left to right bend going. Just slid it across the face. So that is the first score of the grand final. The minor one goes the way of the Cats and the Triple M Choice Hotel scoreboard.
That's exactly what he does, Darcy. He has a lot of left to right, but that just went a little bit too straight for him.
Just get on the end of that from Mitch Duncan. Lick your chops, Duck.
Yep.
You would have a fair income trouser, Stiffy, if that had been how you hit up at a grand final pill. I'm not sure Kingy or Blake's, were they giving it to you like that?
They just put it in the vicinity.
Now we're hearing Vlosten is walking around inside the room, so that's great news. Up and about, but no further part to play as Bolton's kick just broken up. Through came Guthrie and outside of the foot banana. High one for Hawkins. Takes it. Handball looking for Rowan. Just couldn't quite hang on to the pill.
I think he marked that, Hawkins, didn't he?
I reckon he did, Duck. I don't think he realised that he'd marked the ball, but it was well within his rights to go back and take a shot, I reckon.
It looked like a pretty clean mark, maybe a little feather on it from Noah Bolter, but he played on.
Didn't hear a whistle.
So this is what Hawkins is very dangerous. And look at the way he got rid of Nance Curvis. Just out-muscled him. Got it to Dangerfield in a 1-2 danger. Back to Zach Tui. Free kick Danger's way. Got a push in the back from Graham. Graham not happy.
Be careful not to give away a 50 there, Graham.
I was going to say,
gurgling out.
I thought that's a little demonstrative. They give 50s for swearing these days.
That's a poor free kick to pay in a grand final.
No, he dived forward. They don't pay those anymore. But this is a big kick for Paddy Dangerfield because now he's kicking over the last 3 weeks 2-man. He's been very good. Prior to that, not so good this year.
13-12 from set shots this year, Dangerfield.
But the last 3 weeks, way better.
So directly in front, no angle to worry about. And that one was off to the side. and through for a minor score. So the Cats 2 behinds. Tigers yet to score on the Triple M Choice Hotels scoreboard. Just having a look at Gary Ablett back on the boundary line, shoulder strapped up, calling for a Sharon, and the Cats fans are out of their chair. How about that?
High ball in, fisted away by Stanley, and then further afield by Selwood. And a number of players around it, Lambert, one of them out of play.
Feels like the Cats are getting the better look at it at the moment, but they only had the 3 inside 50s, and every one has been dangerous so far. Richmond, in comparison, have had 5 inside 50s, but I can't remember a clean one going in.
It's at half forward here for the Cats. Guthrie gets a little one off to Dalhouse, tumbling inside 50 ball, bounces off the chest of Asprey. Now they can bring it away, the Tigers' members' wing here at the Gabba. Leading in the race for it was Harry Taylor, but he went to ground, and then a little fumble from Rioli. And we'll have a ball in.
It's been a few fumbles so far from the Tigers players. Rioli, Shane Edwards has fumbled twice when he doesn't normally fumble going forward. So they had taken some of those cleanly. They've got some clear path to goal.
Good signs for the Cats. G. Ablett standing in the interchange race area.
A little bit of grimacing though.
Keep a close eye on that, Duck. Interesting point. Might come back to that, whether or not he actually uses painkillers. G. Ablett. Stuck it back that in the meantime, Jaden Short on the not preferred. Dumps a long ball inside forward 50. Collar Jasny. Well played, Bolton. Managed to get it to ground level. Rioli, Slick Campbell out to Graham. Chance for Prestia for the first goal of the grand final. Dion Prestia has got it. And the Tigers, that's their first score. It's a goal. They're 1 straight 6. The Cats are 2 behinds on the Triple M Choice Hotel scoreboard.
It was only 20 seconds ago I spoke about how Rioli fumbled the footy and then Shane Edwards had fumbled it twice. But what about the touch on Shane Edwards? He almost trapped it like a soccer player with 1 foot and then was able to just dish it off. The handball went out then after that to Dion Prestia, who kicked the goal. But it was just a wonderful piece of first handling from Shane Edwards, which set up that goal.
Funnily enough, it was a fumble from Rioli that caused the stoppage, but it actually allowed Richmond to get even numbers back in their forward line. It was back they were able to equalise those numbers there that really led to this opportunity. So funny how the game works. Sometimes a fumble out on the wing allows you to even up your contest up forward, and that resulted in the goal there for the Tigers.
Book direct at choicehotels.com for hotels across Australia for the lowest prices guaranteed. Terms apply. Scoreboard reads 1 straight Richmond, Geelong 2 behinds. First goal scorer has lost, Ash, the last 6 grannies.
Yeah, spot on, JB.
Here we go.
So we're back in the middle. Good bounce of the ball. Stanley extended high. Dangerfield a big thump. Ball to the wing. Blitzarves. Martin. Simpson gets the ball held in. Ball up.
Martin beat very quiet, Ash.
He's only had the 1 handball brownie for Triple M Movember stats.
Matt Stivic, one of the AFL's best umpires, threw it in the air. There is Martin, though, walking through, got around Dangerfield and hacked it around his body. Lynch, full-chested, couldn't hang on. Well done by Selwood, and then Buse is wrapped up. Got it back to Blitzarves. Now Stanley threads a handball to Taylor, who was being tackled. That's a horrible decision. Inside, it could cost him. Baker, handball off. McIntosh, a long flyer. Gets it. 2 in a row, Tigers. 12 points, place 2. Triple M Choice Hotel scoreboard.
And caused from over-handballing. Now, they got away with it earlier this quarter when they delivered that ball to Hawkins. But if you over-handball, I mean, those handballs have got to go to players in a better position than you are. And you never, ever, ever get a ruckman involved in a chain of handballs.
Never, Duck.
Never.
Especially a stationary ruckman. It's a different thing, isn't it?
Well, you know, it was hot potato for Reece Stanley. And you can hear the roar as Gary Ablett comes back onto the ground, Darcy.
Yeah, that's a great sign, isn't it? Shoulder strap, but he's out there. Let's get to the true man, the Triple M Movember stats.
Yeah, Richmond's pressure at 239. AFL average is 185, and they've had twice as many tackles as well, 14-7.
Australian men account for 3 out of 4 suicides. It is a horrible statistic. Needs to be improved. Grow a motor saver, bro. Go to movember.com.au. They just find a way of scoring the Tigers, don't they?
Well, the one thing that you have to do against the Tigers too is scoreboard pressure. I mean, they've had 2 goals they should have kicked. Geelong, they kicked 2 points. Tigers go down and kick 2 goals. All of a sudden, now they're in control of the game.
That's the voice of Wayne Kerr. We got Chris Judd, we got Nate Brown. They're the Triple M Super Super Special Comments team in the grand final. All over it, as you'd expect. All of a sudden, the pressure on the Cats. Danger stepped into the midfield. Pressed here. Laid a good tackle, and they got Danger. There was a play on call allowed to Shea Bolton.
Go back to Prestia, I think.
He just stripped Danger in the tackle to Prestia. So they've had a really good patch here, the Tigers. Inside forward 50, they go again. Edwards claimed a fair bit of the mark. In came Graham. Castagna got it to Rioli. Dusty from the pocket. Bends it to the goal square. Men and goal are back there. Nervous moments for the Cats. Rush it through for a behind. 2-1-13 Richmond. 2 behinds the Cats. Triple M Choice Hotel score.
Absorbed, I should say, Nath early heat, the Tigers.
They have, and they're starting to get some good looks at it now. Dustin Martin was very quiet early, but his ball use in the last couple of minutes have really set them up.
Grant Myers, nice one down the line, gets it to Dalhouse.
Doing a good job on Basher Hooley. Hooley yet to touch the football.
Dalhouse on the 45, that's a nice ball too. And it's Parfitt. And he goes inside 50, and there is Guthrie, just floating in. Looks like Broad's now injured himself too for the Tigers. It's a physical contest, heavy conditions at the Gabba. And Guthrie, what sort of set shot kick is he, please, Ash?
Here came Guthrie, JB. He's 15-11 from set shots in regard to his career.
Be right on his limit in distance range, Jim.
They need a goal here. The Cats. Richmond have slapped 2 on them. Cam Guthrie, All-Australian. Has he got the trip? Oh. Yes, he has! First goal of the Cats from the boot of Cam Guthrie. 1-2, plays 2-1 in the grand final.
It was quite remarkable, that shot. He looked like he didn't kick through it. In terms of his technique, looked like just through the follow-through. Looked like he was just trying to set it up.
I thought it was putting the top of the square.
Top of the square, and it just kept going.
It's timing.
Timing, technique equals distance.
Interesting subplot there with Nate Brown, who's now sitting on the bench, running off, collected with a knee in a marking contest earlier on, and you can see him shaking his head saying he didn't want to come off, but I'm not sure if they can afford a 15-minute concussion test with him. He looks to be all right, and I think a few of the Richmond medicos will be trying to get him on as soon as possible.
I'm with you, that kick from Cam Guthrie almost looked like he just set it up, and it just kept going and going. How well did he time it?
Yep. That's a beautiful kick.
That's the Bosch Tools replay we're looking at. Bosch Power Tools and Accessories, good, better wash.
Beautifully done, Nathan Broad having a little seat on the interchange. We get Tommy Brown to give us an update on him. This has been an eventful start to the 2020 Grand Final. We'll tell you all the news on that in a moment. Back in the centre, Guthrie kicked the last goal. Sends the Cats inside 50. Here's Ablett's first touch after his shoulder was strapped. Laid a tackle and laid it pretty well. Got rid of Asprey. Simpson's kick. Wanted Hawkins. Awkward ball for the big man. Then came a Hunt. Parfitt laid a good tackle on him. Was it deliberate? Umpire has a look and says no, we're going to throw it in. So 4:27 remaining until quarter time, Duck.
How can we go from a prelim last week where they paid absolutely everything deliberate? That's as deliberate as you get. You're being tackled and you go straight to the boundary. That's an absolute shocker.
Ball into the hands of Tui. He got smashed. Ablett's hands were good. Duncan nowhere near a Geelong player with that speculative handball.
And that's deliberate as well.
And that's going to be thrown in. Not sure where he was going with that.
Well, he was going to the boundary.
But why would you? They're inside forward.
Well, he wants a stoppage. Hawkins is dominant in that area, so...
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's, of course. There is Hawkins. Ablett, a little fist in there. Tui will go and find it ground level. Gave it off to Buse. Buse on the left. The kick's got too much heat on it. And they'll get another stoppage inside forward 50.
He's a strong man, Hawkins, isn't he? Nan Curvis is probably one of the more stronger ruckmen, and he's manhandling at the moment, Tom Hawkins.
Got to hold off on creating that body contact. It's no use giving him a target early on in the contest.
102 kilo ruckman Nan Curvis just gets ragdolled by Hawkins. Now a live ball inside 50. Basher Hawley. It was a nervous kick, that one from Basher. Ricochets back to Selwood. Flicks it out. Hawkins got it. Releases it back to Duncan. Inside 50. Stepped around Dusty, and then the kick was just shin forward. And then Basher Hawley back there with enough time to get it to Cochin. Spirals it to centre wing. Man back in the right spot was Henry. Cats are going to scramble a kick forward. It was just messy and in fact out of bounds on the full. Tommy Brown.
Dust. Broad looks okay. He came off with, I thought, was maybe a knock to the ribs, but an eyewitness report from the other side of the ground that someone told me thought he might have got hit in the back of the head. So just keep an eye on him from a concussion perspective too.
Stanley unable to take it. Edwards was brilliant. Inside 50 he goes. Bolton with a good look. Well done, Tommy Stewart. Broke that up sensationally in the air. There's a couple of players down behind plays.
No, there's people running to the
Pitching
ground.
the streakers. I was going to say.
During the game.
I thought they were players. That's amazing.
No.
2 streakers, 2 half-wits
2 dingbats
have been taken to the ground by security.
How dangerous is that in the middle of the grand final? They were right next to the play too, Juddy.
The closer you get to the equator, the more issues you have with the public, Duke. This is just confirmation. While the game doesn't leave Melbourne, it stays here. And if ever you needed proof, too big a risk.
Byproduct of a night grand final.
Yes.
Maybe all day. All day and into the night.
Felt like a WWE head clash. Originally, you just saw the 2 blokes lying flat on the ground.
Tommy says they might have been protesters, we're hearing, from the ground level. We're not sure what they're protesting.
There's another one.
No, he's actually one of the security guards now exiting the ground.
I did well, the security, because they didn't get too far on the ground.
That's true. But Dusty just changing the wheels. The Nikes, courtesy of Georgie Lawler.
Of course, yeah. Well, if you're going to play on the ground, you've got to wear the Nikes.
Short one from Tui. It's okay. Selwood's had a hell of a lot of the ball.
What about this first quarter? We've had protesters.
I know.
We've had
people being knocked out.
Extraordinary.
What about protesting, Duke?
By the way, Gary Ablett he's not anywhere near fit. You can see that he's really carrying that shoulder. He's actually really skirting the packs now.
They've gone the switch, Stewart. And now Henry. What's he got ahead of him? He heads over the top looking for Tui. He just can't quite keep it in, but they've got it to the outer side wing for a ball in.
Triple M November stats. Guthrie, number 1 ranked player on the ground, 7 disposals, 5 clearances and a major. Selwood with 7, Dangerfield just the 1.
5-point lead to the Tigers on the Triple M Choice Hotels scoreboard. 2:41 remaining until quarter time. Cochin dispossessed. This ball's on centre wing. Dangerfield tried to toe poke it, but as the Tigers do, they just surge the ball forward. Henry at half back. Lynch trying to get involved for the Tigers. Well played, Henderson. Harry Taylor got it through in the path of Duncan, who somehow managed to get it past the Tiger opponent. Don't know how, but eventually out of bounds. Choice Hotels, book direct at choicehotels.com for hotels across Australia for the lowest prices guaranteed.
Ball in. Duncan just got rid of Revolt. And then the little inching kick forward didn't really work. Stanley, I should say, got rid of Revolt. It was Duncan the kicker. Now they can distribute across the ground here, the Tigers. And McIntosh at half-back has taken the mark. He's got a player ahead of him.
Broad.
It's Broad. Normally, because these games have been covered by Fox Footy, I can criticise the coverage for shooting it very wide, but at the minute this is as wide a game as I've seen shot, and it's my own mob. Tommy Stewart comes in nicely, controlled the footy. Danger got it back to Stewart. Stewart, a tumbler to the outer side, a 1v2 out here. Hawkins, Asprey. Asprey did pretty well, and he got it back to Revolt.
Jack Revolt, for his first touch of the grand final, coughed it straight up to Tom Stewart.
His positioning's been outstanding in this first quarter, Tom Stewart. He's largely playing as a loose man behind the footy. That one was just a poor kick from Rewalt, but the 4 before that he got, he saved a definite goal to Shea Bolton about 5 minutes ago.
The word through is that the 2 pitch invaders are a comedy duo.
Got to be joking.
So what about that? Couple of absolute boneheads.
Not very funny.
Ablett soccers it off the ground. Now we've got a chaos ball inside forward 50 for the Cats. Cochin got back there with some poise, but coughed it up to Reece Stanley in the middle of the Gabba. Reece Stanley's got 51 seconds remaining. Can the Cats get a late goal? Menengola sees something he likes. There's a couple of targets open. One of them's Mitch Duncan, and he takes a chest mark. About 35 out on a pretty tight angle, tucked up alongside the boundary line.
Normally a pretty good kick, two-man.
Yeah, 61% from set shots, Duck, is his career average.
Marlon Pickett from the behind the goals vision. He won't want to have a look at that again. That's the second time they've been able to drop into a hole inside forward 50. They got a goal out of the first one. Marlon Pickett just lost or refused to go with Mitch Duncan on that occasion. You hope it's not the latter.
On the 2011 Premiership and just his 29th AFL game, Mitch Duncan slides that one home. That is a big moment. It gives the Cats the lead by a point with just 8 seconds until quarter time. And they are the moments that count big time in a grand final. 1 point lead to the Cats. Triple M Choice Hotel scoreboard.
Not sure how you not can be ravenous around your man. You've got the ball. You probably know there's less than a minute to go. You're having a look to see where every player is. And I just thought Marlon Pickett allowed Mitch Duncan to run straight past him. He was next to him. Then he gave him 10 metres, not thinking that he was going to kick it there. These are AFL players who can kick the ball really well. It's a grand final. You've got to go with your player, especially when he's a finisher like Mitch Duncan. You just can't let him it was close to the boundary line. It was a tough shot, but you can't allow Mitch Duncan to take easy marks inside 50.
I think, too, when they pass you running towards the boundary, you know you're not going to have any other teammates there that come off and air assist you third man up, whereas often when they get your corridor side, you do know you're going to have that winger or the spare player to come and give you some assistance. So no excuse there by the Tigers' defence, but it's really just been Geelong's ability to set up behind the ball, create turnover and get repeat inside 50s that's doing the damage at the minute.
Richie Duncan just turning to the crowd and saying, have ye some of that?
Yeah, a little bit cheeky.
34-minute quarter this, by the way. Might be the longest of the season given all the interruptions. Stanley ran under the footy. Edwards just flicked it back to Dusty off the ground. He can still be effective. Big long ball forward. There's your siren. It is the Cats by a point at quarter time in the grand final. Very, very entertaining. Gloston gone with concussion for the day, we assume. Ablett back out there, but sore with the shoulder. 2-1-13 the Tigers, 2-2-14 Geelong. Triple M Choice Hotel scoreboard. The boys back after this. Juddy, Duck, Nath and the Big Duke for McDonald's. Triple M rocks the grand final.
That quarter for Choice Hotels. Book direct at choicehotels.com for hotels across Australia for the lowest prices guaranteed. Terms apply.
For McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's.
Melbourne. It's time to win another premiership.
Yes! Yes!
We won the netball and, of course, the footy.
The Vicks are on fire!
And now the Melbourne Storm are going to squash the Cockroaches.
Beautiful try to the Melbourne Storm!
Our Storm take on the Panthers. So while Penrith fans might be able to go to the pub after the game, their drinks will taste like defeat. Join us tomorrow from 6 for Ream and McDonald's. Triple M rocks the NRL Grand Final.
Did you hear the latest with Ben?
So juicy.
Speaking of juicy, Macca's new chicken McPieces are so juicy and tender, and their chicken salt shaker fries are so crispy. And if you want
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
At Kennards Hire, we only hire people who've taken the Ken Oath. By taking it, each team member goes above and beyond to help any citizen in need. The Ken Oath, it's a commitment that means more than the sanctity of marriage. The Ken Oath means you'll never miss smoko or beer o'clock. So if you want someone who can tackle whatever, whenever, wherever, talk to someone who's taken the Ken Oath.
Kennards make your job easy.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Bob Jane Team Arts have the biggest range with the best deals. Buy 3, get 1 free on selected performance tyres from Bridgestone and Yokohama. Up to $100 instant cashback on a huge selection of passenger, SUV and 4x4 tyres from great brands. With Australia's largest tyre range from $59, best tyre price guarantee, and the biggest wheel selection, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply.
Now, folks, in this game, you've got to go for the one that's steady, hot and strong. And no, sadly, I'm not talking about Collingwood or Richmond. I'm talking about Australia's favourite brand of hot water heater, Ream. The crew at Ream have built Aussie tough water heaters in Australia for over 80 years. So if winter showers are getting a bit chilly at your place and it's time that your hot water needs replacing, then go for the one that's steady, hot and strong and ask your plumber to install a Ream.
Are you a tradie who needs support dealing with contracts? Master Builders has you covered with a range of domestic and commercial contracts that are available as e-contracts or printed copies. Members can also access free over-the-phone legal support. Find out how to become a Master Builders member and check out all the benefits that come with it at mbav.com.au. That's mbav.com.au. Master Builders, your best mate when it comes to building your business.
G'day, Chris Judd here with a big business IT solution for your small or medium business. All you need is Spirit. With Spirit, there's no lock-in contracts, and they're so fast, efficient and responsive, you'll be up and running within 24 hours. So your team could be online with Spirit tomorrow. All you need to do is sit back, chuck some Juddy highlights on YouTube and watch productivity go sky high. Business IT Solutions by Spirit Internet and IT. Spirit.com.au.
At Choice Hotels, we know you don't always need a passport for the perfect holiday, especially when you live in this beautiful country. So if you're seeking a short break or getaway this spring, Choice Hotels is there with hotels across Australia. From Cairns to Coffs Harbour, Apollo Bay to Adelaide and everywhere in between. For a limited time only, you can enjoy 20% off when you book direct at choicehotels.com for the lowest price guaranteed. Subject to availability, T's and C's apply. See choicehotels.com.
It's time to cut the cord. Check out the new 18-volt bi-turbo brushless range from Bosch, delivering up to 2,000 watts of power on a single Procore 18-volt battery. Bi-turbo brushless gives you industrial power on your 18-volt tools. Backwards compatible to the full Bosch 18-volt battery platform, the bi-turbo range delivers maximum performance to your job site. Available now at Total Tools and selected Bosch retailers.
How about last night's game?
The team was on fire.
Speaking of fire, have you tried Macca's new Fiery McSpicy or the seriously saucy Palmy Burger? They're irresistible.
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
This quarter for IGA Liquor. IGA Liquor, proudly independent.
Extraordinary start to the 2020 Grand Final. We've got storylines everywhere, injuries, pitch invaders, and the Cats lead it by a point at quarter time. We'll hear from Wayne Carey shortly. Chris Judd, Nath Brown, JB. We've got the true man upstairs. Extraordinary start to this game, but it's all newsworthy. So we're going to head down inside the Gabba. Tommy Brown, just tell us exactly what happened in that first quarter.
Das, I'll start with the pitch invaders. I'm informed their names are Marty and Michael, and they're a comedy duo. There's nothing funny about what they did. It was during a passage of play, and my knowledge of the fines up here, they're absolutely substantial for that type of thing. I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars. So I think during COVID, stand-up's pretty difficult, so they're going to have to take a while to earn that money back. Just from an injury perspective, obviously Vlosten's out. The good news, as we reported, is he was up and about in the room, so it doesn't look like he's been taken to hospital as yet. Ablett with his shoulder, he's out on the ground, which is the good thing. As to whether he's effective or not, well, time will tell as to whether he can get his hands on the pill. And just keep an eye, guys, on Broad, whether he's got concussions or some rib issues. Just keep an eye on him. I thought it was ribs initially, but he did hit the ground pretty hard.
Thank you, Tommy. For Bob Jane T-Marts, buy 3, get 1 free on selected performance tyres from Bridgestone and Yokohama. BobJane.com.au. Looks like Jordan Clark might have won the grand final sprint at quarter time, or is that a heat? Just got past Bradley Hill on the line. He looks pretty happy with himself. If it was just a heat.
No heat.
No heat.
No heat.
Clark from the Cats is the winner, and a lot of teammates going over to Nick Vlostone, consoling him. He has got the tracksuit top or the polo top on. Juddy, no further part in the game for Nick Vlostone.
No, so this will be an incredibly nerve-wracking hard final 3 quarters for him to sit and watch his teammates get it done. And I thought where Richmond were able to get it done, Duck, was their tackle pressure and just their ability to kick the ball on. You can see they haven't had nearly as many uncontested possessions as the Cats, who've tried to kick and mark, but I think it was Richmond's just ability to get the ball forward that hurt the Cats early.
Yeah, they just surge it. I mean, that's what they're known for, and they've taken it to a whole new level tonight in the wet conditions, prepared to kick it off the ground. I think I've only seen Joel Selwood do that for the Cats, yet we've seen numerous players do it for Richmond. That's their great strength. And obviously making the most of their opportunities.
Well, they missed Vlostone in that first quarter because they averaged 14 intercept marks a game, Richmond. They only took 1 in that first quarter. Every time the ball went in, they did look dangerous, the Cats. So Damien Harvick will be saying, we need more support. We need some more support around the 40-metre line. That's where the Cats have been identifying there's been some holes.
So Ablett back out there, but shoulder strap and Duck. Juddy and Nath suggesting that he's playing with a fair bit of discomfort. So let's get this second quarter underway at the Gabba. It's the Cats by 1 point. Here's JB.
Another good bounce. Stanley parked underneath it over the top. Martin again, happy to hack it off the ground. And Henry leads in the race, picks it up, but then dispossessed by Castagna. It gets through the legs of Blitzarves and over. Cats kicking to the right of your radio dial. Then Curvis and Stanley. No one able to touch it. Simpson, a nice touch to blitz halves. Bouncing ball down the wing. Ablett, ground level, so dangerous. Look at the little master. He gets run down. Flicks a handball on. And it was Marlon Pickett who dragged him down, but gained about 25 metres with the handball. Have a ball in.
Do they tackle well, Richmond? There, Marlon Pickett able to tackle, run down behind on Gary Ablett and not give away a free kick. Such an important skill, which we don't refer to as a skill often enough.
It's a good sign that Ablett, even though hampered, is still going to have an impact on this game. The champ, his final game, now from half-back Graham. Spearing kick was a good one. And Costanza took a nice mark in front of Henry. Tom Lynch wants it out the back. He's been pretty quiet so far. They get third man up with Stewart. Lynch did really well to get it to ground level. Rewalt came in. Laid a good tackle on Henderson. And the Tigers can reset inside their forward 50. Nicely done, Tom Stewart. Got back into the contest. So 1 point ball game. The Cats with the lead. Hacked forward by Duncan. Grime Myers there to accept it. Back to Mitch Duncan. Kicked a beautiful goal in the first quarter. Over the top. Here's Ablett. Some trouble coming. Well tackled from behind by Short. In came Hawkins to lend some support. This footy's on centre wing. Myers. Live ball to be won. Ablett back on hands and knees. Trying to pick it up. Dangerfield. Won it nicely. Awkward bounce for Rowan. Cochin picked it up. Rowan laid a good tackle. Now Marlon Pickett at half-back press here, trying to step through a couple. Gary Rowan going. Got him nicely. Had to be holding the footy. Beautifully tackled.
Yeah, good pressure from the Cats. One after the other. And that's what he's in the team for, Gary Rowan.
Did really well then, Prestia, not to allow the ball out in the tackle because he knew he was going to be done. If the ball had popped out, they would have been able to pay the advantage of Cats. They had a couple of players there.
Rowan steers it into the pocket. Dangerfield held.
Yep.
It was a good decision to go there because Cochin was always in trouble once it was in the air.
Well, it was a really good kick, wasn't it, from Gary Rowan? So he identified that he had Dangerfield on Cochin. Now, Dangerfield's way better marked than Cochin and was using his body, and Cochin, well, he knew he was in trouble and hung on.
Well, this is the part that Danger often battles with.
Yeah.
There's not much else in footy that concerns the great man, but set shots. He's already missed one.
And you just have to make Richmond pay when you get opportunities.
Paddy Dangerfield. Oh, looks good. Yep. It looked good off the boot. It is there. 3 in a row, Cats. 3-2, 22, 113, Triple M. IGA liquor scoreboard.
They almost turned the tables then, the Cats. That's exactly what Richmond like to do to sides. Every time you over handball, Richmond put enormous pressure on you. On that occasion, Richmond were flicking the ball around by hand, but the Cats just wouldn't go away. There was frontal pressure. There was pressure coming from the side. Eventually, Prestia just had a hospital handball that he had to hang on to, and he didn't want to let the ball out. The tackle was good, and well picked up, Duck. The kick to Dangerfield by Gary Rowan was terrific. He's been quiet early, Gary Rowan. He's laid a big tackle and a run down. This will get his confidence up. He's a big confidence player. To pick out Dangerfield on Trent Cochin on that occasion was just some footy smarts.
And just a little note on Gary Ablett. Caught the last couple of times. Just has to be aware. I mean, we know he's probably one of the greatest players to have awareness when he has the footy, but hasn't had it the last 2 times.
Wayne Carey, Chris Judd, Nath Brown, the Triple M Seabus Super Special comments. Gurus, Seabus is super fun, you can trust.
Here we go.
And the Cats, as JB said, have kicked the last 3 goals in this game. Perfect bounce. Over the top, Stanley of Nankervis. Spills out to the wing, well played. Duncan took it cleanly. Worked his way through some heavy traffic. They're in good shape here, the Cats. Look at the overlap run. Parford, he's got Simpson out wide. Now looks up inside 50. Target on Dalehouse. Had to get out of Hawkins' way. What are you doing, Dalehouse? Not his role. Simpson came back in. Grind Myers collected by Pickett. Still bouncing around. 60 around from the Cats' goal. Bolter got charged at by Buse. Short under pressure. Pickett got it to Noah Bolter. His handball over the top. Zach Tour, the Irishman, flicks it back to Selwood. He wants to get it forward and inside 50, but he's popped it out of bounds as Luke Dalehouse goes back.
Yeah,
what happened there?
in Dalehouse's defence, it's up to Hawkins to really call him back with confidence. So, because Dalehouse hasn't got eyes in the back of his head, so he's got to go back with that. Hawkins has got to call him back into that.
Long ball down the line. Surprised at that analysis. A big forward coming at the footy duck. Normally you get out of their way. High ball forward. Dangerfield taken out of it. Asprey through the hands of Broad. Parfitt couldn't find a teammate with the handball. Tui did nicely. Danger back in again. I reckon that ball might be touched. So Nank thinks he's got it. Play on called. It won't be pinged because he didn't hear the call.
Well, he did. He just made out he didn't.
The big positive for Tom Hawkins, though, I think that's the third time he's been able to slip Noah Bolter, not only by a metre or two, but I'm talking 10 metres.
Cats get a big chance, 15 metres out from their goal. Clearing kick came out of defence for the Tigers. Tom Lynch steps up. How many touches he had, two man?
That was his first touch.
Yeah, there you go. Tom Lynch not able to get access to the footy. Shea Bolton and Blitzarves in a race on the wing. Bolton twisting and turning. Blitzarves did really well to corral him. Forced the handball. McIntosh dropped it. Socketed forward to Camden McIntosh. Now he's got to go back and get it. The pickup was pretty good. Forward handball to Prestia. Here's Dusty. Can he work it? Don't argue. Yes, he can for sure. Back in board. Edwards standing start from 50. Gets it to the goal line. Lynch too big, too strong, but in the end couldn't claim the mark, and it will be through for a minor score. Or did it touch the behind post?
You can touch the behind post, Duke. They're going to throw it in.
Once again, Lynch. He did it a few times last week where he did all the hard work and then dropped an easy mark, and he had the mismatch there on Colin Jasny.
Good spot for a ball in. Through the hands of Prestia. Blitzarve, so good. Tumbles it. That's a perfect ball. If it keeps end on ending, it's out of play. Couldn't have done it better. Tommy Brown.
JB, I wonder if the weather's now suiting the Cats. I think Richmond were hoping for rain. It's relatively dry now, and as far as Brisbane goes, even the surface water, it's surprisingly dry. It's drying up.
Thank you, Tommy. Ball in, and that's good for the spectacle, by the way, because it has hosed down all day here in Brizzy as Duncan's taken over.
Triple M November stats. Rich Duncan, more disposals than any other player during this year's final series. Currently the leading ball winner on the ground with 12 touches in a major.
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's, of course. 20 plays 13. It is the Cats by 7 points. Won by Prestia. Just eased a handball forward. Kolajasny spun out of a tackle. Did that well. Got the ball to the wing. Good forward pressure here again from the Cats. Dalhouse comes in hard. Won a really nice footy. Hawkins to Parfitt. He released the ball after a really strong Baker tackle. Baker went and got it again and kicked a high ball down the line, but it ain't going to get beyond Mitch Duncan.
You've got to admire the way Baker goes about his business, don't you? Hard nut.
Just gets the job done week in and week out. Doesn't get much fanfare, does he?
Yeah.
Mitch Duncan, plenty of the footy, as the two man just told us. Pops it back in. Parfitt got rid of his defender, Asprey. Marlon Pickett, just his 20th game, looking for his second premiership. What about that? Slapped away Harry Taylor from Tom Lynch, picked up by Dusty. Twisting kick around the corner. A lot of Cats around this ball. Picked up by Buse. Had a voice out wide. And that was Duncan who kicked the nice ball to Brian Myers.
Mitch Duncan, how well's he tracking? Ball into the hands of Danger.
Got the distance too.
Yeah. Just inside 50 on the same angle that he slotted the last one.
Yeah, a little bit further out. That won't bother him.
Mitch Duncan plays again, Ash.
14 disposals already, JB, and a major.
Was a lot of people's pick for the Norm Smith. Mitch Duncan brings great form into this game.
And if Danger, and we talk about scoreboard pressure, if he goes back and kicks this, all of a sudden Richmond then just start to get a little bit concerned.
That's right. From the set shot. Great shot of it behind the champ, Paddy Dangerfield. That ain't going through. In fact, it's going to land about 15 out. Reece Stanley a fly. Noah Bolt to the handball, but it went straight to Parfitt, who got taken over the line by Baker.
From Richmond, I'm wanting my second string midfielders and players who have got us there all year, like Shea Bolton, to stand up. Jack Graham hasn't been near it at the moment. Kane Lambert hardly touched it. Rioli hasn't had a kick yet. I mean, Dustin Martin hasn't been the best man on the ground. Lynch and Rewald are quiet, so we need these players to stand up.
And then Curvis took clean possession in the ruck. That's normally Hawkins' trick. In the forward line off the hands of Guthrie, and they'll reset again. Boundary thrown. The Cats in attack. They lead it by 7 points.
When you say we, Brownie, you
pulling the jumper back on?
Yeah.
No.
Oh boy!
From a game sense.
Oh, okay.
James Brown, Chris Judd. That's the duck. Wayne Carey. Super special comments, boys. As the Tigers clear it from half back, coming through. Look at the hands of Tom Stewart. How clean And precise was that. Rowan got underneath the footy. Tiger numbers get back into the goal line to defend Pickett. Got it to Broad. Look at the pressure from Dangerfield. He's created this goal. Myers picks it up. Got to kick the goal. Ryan Myers, he's missed an absolute sitter.
They're the one stars. Have to nail those opportunities.
That was a golden opportunity. Goran Myers, 3-3-21 the catch, 2-1-13 now the Tigers. Triple M IJ Liquor scoreboard. Just had to go back and kick it, Juddy.
He did, and it feels like the Cats have had a really dominant period, almost for the best part of a quarter, but to only be 8 points up, there's just lacking that scoreboard pressure Duck's been talking about.
The young man in the big moment. Push out. He's going to go Harry Taylor's way.
Get up, Harry.
Harry just holding the bonds.
He tapped it out of his hand.
Look at the Bosch Tools replay here, JB. Just after the contest got pushed into a teammate's hip that was running past, and he's pumped his head, and he's sure he'll be all right.
He's up now. Got it to Menegola. Menegola, high ball on the left, going to land in a pretty hot spot. Nankervis with a big fist. Lambert can't get past the Duncan tackle. Brian Myers went to ground after the pill. Over the top of it now, Guthrie. It's shoveled through to the back. Myers has another look. And I reckon the umpire's going to blow it dead. 50 from home. Cats in attack.
8:21 remaining in this first half. 2020 grand final at the Gabba. Epic contest unfolding before our eyes at the moment. Just an 8-point lead. Here's Duncan. He's been huge. Off the side of his boot to Tui. He's a dangerous kick. Zach Tui jammed it. Looked like it was home. I thought Duck just faded late. And a minor score, so...
That camera angle was deceiving, wasn't it?
What it was there for all money. 3-4-22 the Cats, 2-1-13 the Tigers. Triple M IJ Liquor scoreboard.
They're rattled, the Tigers, at the moment. They're not clearing the area with any of their stats at the moment. They're getting the ball in stoppage work or under pressure. It's only going 10 or 15 metres straight back to Geelong.
5 of the last scores for the Cats. They've just got to make it count in the major column. Henderson taken in a double tackle.
Yeah, knew what he was doing there, Henderson. Was always just wanted that ball to get out of bounds.
They could have really put Richmond to the sword in the last 10 minutes, the Cats. They've let them back in with inaccuracy. 3-4 plays 2-1. Simpson just couldn't get the handball through. Stanley, boot to ball. Gets past Dangerfield, but no one actually wants to possess it. Then it's slapped into the path of Dalhouse. High ball from him. Dangerous one, Danger coming back, couldn't hang on. Ablett tries to lay a tackle. Broad with the clearing ball, that's out in the full. So Dalhouse will bring it in, 50 from home. They are just pounding away at this Richmond defence.
They have to get a 6-pointer, the Cats.
Luke Dalhouse.
12-2 in this quarter, inside 50s for the Cats.
Set up ball and easy to kill, another behind. 3-5-23, Cats by 10 points.
And that's a nothing kick.
It was a poor kick, Duck, wasn't it? They needed to be 20 metres out from goal, where if they did spoil it back towards the goal, they had an opportunity to run onto it. On that occasion, it was just too easy for the ruckman to get through.
Frustrated looking Damien Hardwick, looking on with the margin only 10 points. Harry Taylor again, he's been very, very hard to play on in this final series. Buse wrapped up in a Pickett tackle and rewarded.
Geez, Geelong are winning the ground level contest at the moment. I thought Richmond dominated probably the first 10 minutes, but since then, Geelong ground level has been outstanding.
Marlon Pickett has handed it to the man on the mark. Can you believe that? No. It's just almost a fresh, airy handball straight to Buse, and now we'll have a boundary throw-in. So for Triple M IJ Liquor scoreboard, IJ Liquor proudly independent, 10-point lead to the Cats. They've dominated really, but that margin, as Duck, Juddy and Nath point out, isn't anywhere near what it should be.
Blitzarv's down, Prestia got it. Pickett off a step, down the line ball. They've got a 1v2 here, the Cats. Harry Taylor, nice handball to Stewart. Stewart off a step, dangerous ball. They got to win this here, Geelong, because Richmond are there in number. Simpson got a nice calm head on in this young man. That's not a great ball. Pickett's had it broken up by Selwood. Selwood on the left just wobbles it to half forward. Bashahuli been very quiet. Shovel it back to Bolter. Defensive 50, kicks it straight to Selwood. They've got the wobbly boots on Richmond.
You can see, and it's amazing, isn't it? You start to really pressure them, and they're starting to make some really basic mistakes now, the Tigers.
Short ball to Brian Myers. He's 51 from home. He goes underneath the man on the mark, and Menegola, 35 out, has taken a simple hit-up mark.
And you've got the likes of Bashahuli in the background there with his hands up saying, what is going on? So
Must kick this.
And Bolter, he's just got to, well, don't get your ambitions mixed up with your capabilities. He's just got to drive that one out. He's not a short pass man.
Sam Menegola has to convert from this set shot. 7-2 on the year. Set shot kicker. Coming off a best on ground performance. And that is going through. Oh, they've got this one by the pill bag at the minute, the Cats. It is 4-5-29 to 2-1-13 Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard.
I haven't seen the Tigers' defence this disorganised in a long, long time, Duck and Judge. On that occasion, Nankervis just turned his back and, I mean, he's the ruckman, so he wants to get back into the goal square to defend, but he just didn't look around, and there was a big gap behind him. He ran past Sam Menegola, who was the man who just led up and marked the football. He needed to have, as the ruckman, needed to have more awareness. And you saw Bashar Hawley, who was standing on two other players with his hands in the air. Marlon Pickett, again, was on the mark. Just had his hands on his hips on the mark, looking a little bit lazy. I think the AFL honeymoon's well and truly over for Marlon Pickett at the moment, but they need to really start to do something in the defensive end, the Tigers.
Probably that communication you picked up before. You singled out Marlon Pickett earlier on, but when the Tigers are up at their very best, they're pointing, they're covering, they're not making a creeping assumption that you'd like to say, Duke, that someone else is going to pick up that man. And we know the press is an effective way to defend, but you do lose some responsibility for who's on each individual offender. And for Menegola to take an uncontested mark out 40 metres out from goal with seemingly no pressure on him in a grand final, wouldn't read about it.
Okay, we're back in the centre. The Cats have extended their margin to 16 points, 5 minutes and 30 seconds until half-time. These are crucial minutes in this game. Here they come again. Parfitt, Guthrie just left it behind. Baker had a chance. A little wobbly Marlon Pickett's been. As that kick again. They're kicking to a contest, and they're not winning those contests as Menegola's wrapped up by McIntosh. And no prior opportunity to correct call. So we're seeing mistakes we haven't seen the Tigers make for a long, long time in this quarter. And there's some real pressure from the Cats. Nankervis slapped it back. Gazza. Superbly done. The look away handball. Selwood's got it to Hawkins. Oh, how good was that, Juddy?
That was magnificent, wasn't it? He barely took possession of the ball, Gaz. He almost just tapped it onto his fist and a handball over his shoulder.
Oh, come on.
That's brilliant. Selwood running past, did not break steps.
Touch of the Harlan Globetrotters from the little champ, Gary Ablett. If you've just tuned in, he's had his shoulder strapped. He's been playing with some serious pain. And now, what a moment, Tom Hawkins.
And that gap you talked about, Brownie, with Hawkins and Bolter again.
So this is huge. Tom Hawkins, the kick that he should make. Distance not an issue. Angle not an issue.
Got it.
He's got it. Duck said he called it off the boot. And the Cats have kicked 5 unanswered goals. And it's a 22-point margin in the grand final all of a sudden at the Gabba at night time on the Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard. And that was massive.
That was massive. And let's be honest, they should be 2 more. They should have 2 more. They've kicked, what have they had? They've had 9 scoring shots and 1 spoil through. So 5-5 to 3 scoring shots. I mean, this is dominant now from the Cats.
Almost at the stage now, if you're Richmond, you've really got to start getting some control over these clearances. These last 4 minutes could just about lose them the game if they don't at least break even in it. I think it's time to move your big guns, Dustin Martin, Cochin, get your big guns on the ball. They've got to start to equalise these stoppages for the end of this half.
Always the concern for Tigers fans coming into this game, Nath, is they just don't hurt you on the scoreboard. They don't score enough, which keeps you in the game. 2 goals to half-time.
No, they ground out wins, Jim, because that's the way they play. They play a surge type of football. It's not a clean type of football. So all of a sudden you've got to start to over-possess the ball. They've got to handle the ball. Like Juddy said, they need to win these clearances and have the ball in their hands a little bit longer. They've hardly had the ball at all this quarter. What are the inside 50s, Ash?
Yeah, 15-2 Geelong's way.
15-2.
Yep.
Sublime handball from Gary Ablett. That's one that you'll see repeated over and over again. Stanley taken out of it. Hot ball, centre of the ground. Parfitt. He's wrapped up in a pretty strong Cochin tackle and will have a ball up.
And the one thing we know about the Tigers, I mean, the Cats led them last year in the prelim by a similar margin, and the Tigers came out and thumped them. So certainly not over for the Tigers, but Cats well on top.
Lambert, was he legged? Went to ground. Parfitt off the ground. Ball spreads out wide. Menegola's normally pretty clean. He has his handball broken up. Now we get a little bit of a look here. Dusty Martin, a high handball. Really didn't work. Menegola got busted up. Stanley over the top of the ball. Edwards with a little inching kick forward. Lambert again inside 50, but no one home for the Tigers, and Stewart able to pick it off.
He's had some sort of half Stewart.
They've called this early. He's been brilliant, Stewart.
He goes wide looking for Guthrie. Couldn't take a chest mark. Stewart, so they get repeated forward 50 entries, and this is good for Bolton. So Bolton from 48 can kick a much-needed goal for the Tigers.
I like the fact that Jimmy's turned around. He's taken a mark 45 out. He's only a young player, Shea Bolton, but he's put his hand up straight away. He's realised the situation. He's realised they need a goal. They need a cool head. And he's got supreme confidence in his kicking ability. He's a very good set shot at goal, and he's taken the responsibility on to kick this goal.
Shea Bolton, huge kick for the Tigers in the grand final. Gets close to the man on the mark and fans it right. 2-2-14, 5-5-35, Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard.
With just 2 minutes 40 remaining until half-time. That was a goal they would desperately have loved to have pegged back there for the Tigers. So the fullback kick in, Henderson drives it out wide, and there was a bit of miscommunication.
Gaz couldn't put his hands up.
Nah. He wanted Menegola to go, and Noah Bolton got gifted the mark.
He didn't even attempt that mark there, Gaz.
So Bolton just pops it towards McIntosh, and Damien Harbert shakes his head. Because what are we doing there on the Bosch Tools replay? Bosch Power Tools and Accessories, good, better Bosch. So just that connection and communication, Duck, for the Tigers we've seen all year, not there at the moment.
It's amazing, isn't it? The best side of the last few years, just really feeling the pressure and making basic mistakes.
Bolton, a high one. Blitzarves parked under this. Pickett with him. Rioli always so dangerous. He went to ground. That's holding the ball. Stewart's been brilliant, as Duck said.
He's been the best man on the ground, Stewart.
Tommy Stewart breaks that up. 21-point lead for the Cats. We've got a minute 58 left. High and wide goes Stewart, and Broad's able to smash it with a big fist. And over the line, that's Stewart.
Yeah, Tommy Stewart, 12 possessions, six of those are intercept JB. And the intercept marks, Richmond ranked number 2 in the competition. They've only taken 2 this evening. Cats have already racked up 7.
Triple M Movember stats with the Tune Man. 1 in 6 Aussie men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer by the age of 85. Grow a mo to save a bro. Go to Movember.com. Bolter's having a little run in the ruck. Now to Edwards. Gets it back. He's pacey. He's got athleticism. Bolter on the left. He finds Lynch, and Lynch has dropped it. So Tom Lynch has just had the one touch in this game, which was a handball.
And that is a sitter. If you drop one of them in your whole career, it's one too many.
Just don't see that from that man, JB.
They have not gone well in this half, the Tigers. Henry able to pick it up, but he's kicked it out in the full. So they will get, with a minute 20 left, the ball back inside forward 50 here, Richmond, and they have to find a way to get one through. 21-point lead, Cats. Long ball, top of the square. It's worked to the front. Dustin Martin, the fend off, and he has kicked a goal. It came to the champ to fix things up for his club, and Dustin Martin has slotted the Tigers third. 3-2-20. Cats 5-5-35, IGA Liquor scoreboard.
They needed something, didn't they? They needed a bit of magic, and Dustin Martin has just provided it. The Cats got the fist out, but it was a dangerous spot to fist that ball back in. It was 20 metres out from goal. They fisted it straight back in the arch of goal, and Dustin Martin had to take it, had to put the fend off. That was brilliant. Snap across the body, and now that will lift him just before half-time.
Had no right to kick that goal, Dusty, did he? By the time he got the ball, he was already being tackled. Managed to stick the arm out, surrounded by players, getting pushed towards the boundary, managed to get the ball away from where the momentum was making it travel. That's why he's the best, because he delivers when they need it, Doug.
Had to get it back a fair way, screw it back, didn't he? And he kicked a very similar goal last week, actually, but knew exactly where to be, and that is at the front of the pack.
It's just brute strength, isn't it? Yeah. Skill from Dustin Martin. Triple M IGA Liquor scoreboard. IGA Liquor proudly independent. The Cats now by 15 points, and you can't underestimate how big that is going to half-time. Against the flow of play, the superstar Martin stands up and delivers for the Tigers. Edwards soccers it out to the wing in front of McIntosh. Got a good shepherd. Enough space for McIntosh to get this one inside 50. Wobbling ball, Lynch Harry Taylor's been really strong in that duel. Got it over for a boundary throwing trim.
Yeah, Tigers' last 7 entries inside 50. Key ball winners for them in this term. Pickett with 8 touches and Short, number 1 ranked player with 8 disposals as well.
Lockie Henderson's kept Jack Riewoldt to 1 kick in the first half.
Yeah, and Harry Taylor on Lynch has done similar.
They got it at the right end, the Tigers. Sneak another one before the half. It'll really tighten this game up. Blitzarves. That's incorrect disposal. Dusty will get a set shot. Tight angle.
When you want your big players to stand up, this man has delivered and he needs to go back and kick this. He's a wonderful set shot at goal, Dusty, but this would be a great one too.
There were 3 players around that footy and they all saw Dusty and said, no, you can have it.
It's wonderful. He's been superb in the last minute or two. 11-3 set shots for the year for Dusty to kick 2 in a minute and drag single-handedly his club back into a grand final. He's going to go with the outside of the boot. Oh, no. Hit the wrong side. He's actually centred the ball. Might still work. To his hands. Stewart a thumping handball. What, he got 15 seconds left. Everything's got to go right. And out of play with 11 seconds left. That's extraordinary.
Well, and that's the thing. When you're kicking a banana or a check side from that far out, you have to hit it really hard. So the chance of doing that is obviously much more.
Unusual decision, wasn't it? From that range and that distance.
Yeah.
He's the sort of player that would flush it and nail it. 6 seconds remaining. Time for a goal. The Tigers are in their forward 50. Lambert steps around, spills out to Edwards. Here's a goal coming out with Preston. Can get access to it. No, he couldn't, and the siren sounds at half-time. And we have got something special for you in the 2020 Grand Final. 15-point lead at half-time to the Cats. And we're going to hear more from JB, more from the King Wayne Carey. The judge, Chris Judd. Nate Brown's with us, the true man, Tommy Brown. There's been some big storylines in this game already. We'll give you all of that at half-time. It is the Cats by 15 points at half-time in the grand final. It's thanks to McDonald's. Triple M rocks footy.
That quarter for IGA Liquor. IGA Liquor, proudly independent.
For McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's.
Bruce Springsteen. He's rocked stadiums.
Give me some slack.
And stereos across the globe. So it's only deserving he gets his own show on Triple M without having to hand out icy cold cans of Coke for 3 years first. From his home to yours,
I want to thank you for spending this time with me.
Bruce Springsteen and E Street Radio.
This one goes out to all the folks we love.
Tonight after the footy on Triple M.
Did you hear the latest with Ben?
So juicy.
Speaking of juicy, Macca's new chicken McPieces are so juicy and tender, and their chicken salt shaker fries are so crispy. And if you want
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
It's time to cut the cord. Check out the new 18-volt bi-turbo brushless range from Bosch, delivering up to 2,000 watts of power on a single Procore 18-volt battery. Bi-turbo brushless gives you industrial power on your 18-volt tools. Backwards compatible to the full Bosch 18-volt battery platform, the bi-turbo range delivers maximum performance to your job site. Available now at Total Tools, Bunnings and other retailers.
When it comes to protecting your valuable machinery or vehicle, there is no better choice than Fuchs Lubricants, Australia's largest manufacturer of lubrication products. Fuchs' superior customer service and product range covers everything from automotive and agricultural through to manufacturing and mining. To find out where you can find the latest oils and greases, proudly Australian-made using German technology and Australian know-how, head to fuchs.com.au or call 1800 1800 13.
Well, the hottest of hot water you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Ream's been proudly manufacturing here in Australia for over 80 years.
Install a Ream. Install a Ream.
So ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
G'day, it's Stars here.
hard work needs harder workwear. And hey, you may as well look and feel good too. Hardjacker's new Raptor Active range of work shorts and pants nails all of the above and then some. Yeah, they look good, but they're also durable and comfortable with breathable ripstop stretch fabric that makes them perfect all year round. And the final kicker, they're sustainably made. Go harder and longer with the new Hardjacker Raptor Active range at hardjacker.com.au and leading stockists. Hardjacker, get around it.
Now more than ever, we need our mates. When it comes to running a business in the building industry, Master Builders is the mate you can depend on to have your back. Whether you need support with industry information, legal, building permits, OH&S, IR or training, we've got you covered. Find out how to become a Master Builders member and check out all the benefits that come with it at mbav.com.au. Master Builders, your best mate when it comes to building your business.
Introducing Goat Lotto. You could win $50,000 or lots of other stuff, like this stubby holder, which none of you can actually see, but just imagine a stubby holder. You can win that. Simply buy a carton of Goat Very Enjoyable Beer, upload your receipt to enter the draw, and don't forget to watch the Goat Lotto show at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on November 11. 18 plus only. Ends November 8. Prizes drawn November 9. See goatlotto.com.au for T's and C's. Drink responsibly.
How about last night's game?
The team was on fire.
Speaking of fire, have you tried Macca's new Fiery McSpicy or the seriously saucy Palmy Burger? They're irresistible.
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
To create a world first, you need to think differently. Like George Ballas, the part-time inventor, full-time dance instructor who invented the line trimmer. Guess he just wanted to cut shapes in the garden. At Ego, we're taking it even further with the world's first self-winding line trimmer. Load the line, press the button, and you're done. It's quicker, easier, and leaves more time for dancing. If that's your thing, think outside with the Ego line trimmer with power load technology. Search Ego Power Plus today. Ego. Power beyond belief.
For McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
It's the Cats by 15 points at half-time, and the Amy Clanger was in the first quarter. Have a listen. There's a couple of players down behind plays.
There's people running to the
pitching
ground.
on, there's streakers. Going to say.
During the game.
I thought they were players. That's amazing.
No.
Two streakers, two half-wits have been taken to the ground by security.
How dangerous is that in the middle of the grand final? They were right next to the play too, Juddy.
The closer you get to the equator, the more issues you have with the public, Duke. This is just confirmation. While the game doesn't leave Melbourne, it stays here. And if ever you needed proof.
They're a comedy act, apparently. About as funny as a kick in the head. By the way, final series, Amy's donating $100 for every Clanger stat that's registered. 10 local footy clubs around the country splitting the prize. It's all part of the Amy Clangers for Good campaign. So far, there have been 395 Clangers, bringing the total to $39,500. No matter what the tally reaches after tonight's game, Amy will top it up to $100,000. 100. Clangers don't seem so bad after hearing that. T's and C's apply before buying insurance issued by Amy. Read the PDS at amy.com.au. Juddy, I've got the headset on you. Chris Scott last week in the prelim against the Lions said after the game that he thought they should have actually put the game away by half-time. They had enough dominance in the game but weren't able to make it on the scoreboard. Obviously, they ended up running out pretty comfortable winners in that game, but you could argue they almost should have had Richmond done by half-time here.
You're right, JB. They could be 5 or 6 goals up the Cats. Such has been their dominance. You mentioned Chris Scott there. I think so far this game, it's been a testament to him and how he's been able to set the team up. Every time Richmond get the ball and they're looking to kick the ball forward, Geelong have a loose player cutting that ball off. So often it's been Stewart. We've seen Lockie Henderson do it at times, Buse some other times. They've just positioned themselves really well behind the ball. Then they've been able to kick and mark the ball much more efficaciously than Richmond. We look at Richmond with 9 marks to Geelong's 31, so they're just dominating that ball use. Richmond's tackle pressure has been good, but as we know, you cannot tackle a man who's marked the ball, JB, and in that area of the ground, Geelong have just been dominant, mate.
They certainly have, and they've done it through the clearances as well. Richmond have been a great clearance side through this final series, but it's been the easy nature of the clearances that Geelong have got out. Normally Richmond put this enormous pressure on, but it hasn't been there tonight. It was probably there for the first, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. Ash gave us a pressure rating update, and I think since then Richmond's pressure has really dropped off, and Geelong have really walked out of stoppages, and any time the ball has spilled out from that, I guess, 5 or 10 metre radius, it's always been a Geelong player that's been on the edge or the outer circle to easily pick it up and go forward.
I think stoppages are the one thing if you're Richmond. I think the others, they can't continue to give Geelong so many loose players in their Geelong's back line, Richmond's forward line. So you've got to work out a way to equalise the numbers. We know Richmond play their best when it's a messy game of football. They're not being able to play messy at this stage because Geelong is setting up too well.
Right now you've got Marlon Pickett at half forward going up to a wing. Then you've got, obviously, Shea Bolton coming up from half forward on ball. You've probably got Rioli coming up on ball as well. So that empties out your forward line. And then Tom Stewart goes, OK, these blokes aren't dangerous. They're not getting a hell of a lot of the ball. Bolton hasn't really touched it. Marlon Pickett hasn't touched it much. And Castagna hasn't really touched it. So he just drops off and he sees it all unfold ahead of him. And his positioning in that first half has been A1. It's an easy role to play, that loose man in defence, but if you don't position yourself well, the ball can go past you with good sides. Richmond are the best at it, but he's been able to put himself in the position to be most effective.
Lynch, 2 possessions, and Revolt 1, so they're getting nothing from the 2 big power forwards, the Tigers. It looked really grim halfway through that second term for the Cats, Juddy, and then the great, and we use this sentence or that word too often, I reckon, but you can certainly say the word great about Dustin Martin, and he almost single-handedly dragged his club back into it.
And people sometimes get annoyed about how much we and other commentators rabbit on about Dusty Martin, but he carries such a huge weight of expectation into this game, and time again when they need someone to deliver, it's him that changes the direction of the game. We spoke about the crumb where he was getting tackled by Kolodjasny as he crumbed that ball in the middle of a forward line surrounded by Geelong players, but he was able to collect the ball, push off Kolodjasny, wrap the ball around his body. He delivers time and time again, and without that Dusty Martin goal leading into the halftime break, it was hard to see a way out for Richmond Footy Club.
Oh, we like some objectivity in the Triple M coverage, so we're going to Bill Brownless in Geelong. Fat!
Oh, we're happy, Jim. We're keeping a lid on it. Very nice first half for the Pussycats.
Now, just a bit of missing. Graham Myers just hurrying with that set shot, and a couple that they just got a little wrong, Fat. Otherwise, he could have been 30 points up.
Yeah, could have been. What were we up at half-time? I'm trying to think in the prelim
21.
last... What?
21.
21, righto, so we're 15 up now. So, no, very nice. A very good quarter, I thought. Loved Mitchie Duncan, been outstanding, and Tommy Stewart down back. The skippers led from the front. But you're right with Dusty. He shouldn't have kicked that goal. There's no way you can kick that goal. You got blokes hanging off you. He looked very dangerous, but we're just keeping a nice little lid on it down here in G-Town.
Hey, what are you doing down at the Cremorne, please? Just paint the picture for us.
Well, I had the special tonight, the corned beef. Corned beef and a bit of radish, a bit of bacon. Had a couple of them. I was a bit peckish. And then I've just been having the pots, and we've been sitting here. We just got a bit of a raid. The coppers come through, so we just had the numbers had to be right, Jim, of course.
And were they?
Yeah, they were when we just got rid of a couple. But no. No, all good, Cock. But it's very good. Everyone's happy. And they're a bit of cheering, but they know how good a side this Tigers outfit is, and they can come back. So we'll just see how we go towards the end.
All right, Fat. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No. How's Brian going?
Well, we don't know because we're doing the game here on radio, Fat. So why would you ask that question?
Well, we just didn't see him in the rub. He took off for the last half hour. But let me tell you, what about that the first 5 minutes? What happened there with Ablett and then Vlosten and the injuries, and you couldn't write that stuff. So
a comedy duo invading the ground.
Yes, who was? I thought that was young Oscar trying to get onto the ground there for a minute, but happy to see it wasn't him.
No. Well done. All right, we'll catch up as well. If it goes well, we're going to catch up with you at the end of the game. All right?
No, I'll be pissed and I'll be singing and crying, and I'm not talking to you, Jim.
All right, as we go to the break, we're going to have is it a bit of Geronimo we're listening to from Shepherd?
Well, we rushed it, moving way too fast, and we crushed it. But it's in the past. We can make this leap through the curtains of the butterfly.
lives 24/7, and so does Triple M Footy. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
From McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
Triple M's Hot Breakfast.
Melbourne, when it comes to knowing what is happening in our city, our country, our world, Triple M's Hot Breakfast keeps you informed.
And you guys have been brilliant in delivering the news without the hype.
With breaking news. Massive breaking news that's happening at the moment.
And the newsmakers.
There's none bigger than the Prime Minister.
G'day, Eddie.
Premier joins us this morning.
The Federal Treasurer.
Good morning,
Das. Good morning, Eddie. If it happens in Melbourne,
we're getting the best people on to talk directly to our listeners.
You'll hear about it on Triple M's Hot Breakfast.
For 100% Australian-made and owned filling products. Find the right filling application for the deck, floor or walls from Timbermate Group.
At Kennards Hire, we only hire people who've taken the Ken Oath. By taking it, each team member goes above and beyond to help any citizen in need. The Ken Oath. It's a commitment that means more than the sanctity of marriage. The Ken Oath means you'll never miss smoko or beer o'clock. So if you want someone who can tackle whatever, whenever, wherever, talk to someone who's taken the Ken Oath.
How much Jim Beam could Jimmy Brings bring if Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam?
As much Jim Beam as Jimmy Brings could bring if Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam.
Because Jimmy Brings does bring Jim Beam so we can watch our team.
Jimmy Brings Jim Beam to your door in 30 minutes. Did you hear the latest with Ben?
So juicy.
Speaking of juicy, Macca's new chicken McPieces are so juicy and tender, and their chicken salt shaker fries are so crispy. And if you want
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
Victoria, every test we take helps.
Get us on top of this virus.
Get us to the next step.
Every test helps you stop worrying about that sniffle.
And go to work safely.
Get back to cricket training.
And finally, visit Mum.
Every test helps us get closer to a new normal.
So even if your symptoms are mild, or you've been tested before,
every test helps.
For testing locations, visit vic.gov.au/coronavirus.
Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Some blokes are like good tools. They're useful to have around. And some tools are like good blokes. You can trust them. Crescent Tools are trusted by the trades. An earned reputation. Check out their new range of shock force tape measures. Drop tested from 30 metres onto concrete. It fits perfect in the hand and has an impressive 4 metre standout. Find them at Sydney Tools. Crescent. Trusted by the trades.
All right, let's see what we got. Oh, jeez.
What is it?
Oh, it's not good.
Well, we need a breaker?
Maybe the demo saw.
Then we'll need a chipping hammer.
Nah, just a core drill.
Probs need a diamond tip then?
You know what, Benno?
What?
If we didn't need a diamond tip, you'd be the sharpest tool in the shed.
Thanks, man.
Whatever you need it, Coates Hire has a million pieces of equipment to make it happen. Call now on 13 15 52.
G'day, it's BT here. Now these days, AFL is my life, but it wasn't always that way. Did you know that I actually used to be a plumber? How about that? So I know the importance of hot water that comes on steady, hot and strong. Now more than ever, with over 80 years of manufacturing in Australia, Rheem has been building Aussie tough water heaters for Aussie families and Aussie conditions. Ask your plumber to install a Rheem, Australia's favourite hot water.
How much Jim Beam could Jimmy Brings bring if Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam?
Jimmy Brings would bring as much Jim Beam as Jimmy Brings could bring if Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam.
If Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam when we watch our team, Jimmy Brings would bring as much Jim Beam as Jimmy Brings could bring if Jimmy Brings could bring Jim Beam.
Because Jimmy Brings does bring Jim Beam so we can watch our team.
Jimmy Brings and Jim Beam, bringing the official spirit of footy to your door in 30 minutes.
It's time to cut the cord. Check out the new 18-volt bi-turbo brushless range from Bosch, delivering up to 2,000 watts of power on a single Procore 18-volt battery. Bi-turbo brushless gives you industrial power on your 18-volt tools. Backwards compatible to the full Bosch 18-volt battery platform, the bi-turbo range delivers maximum performance to your job site. Available now at Total Tools and selected Bosch retailers.
From McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
Half time in the 2020 AFL Grand Final sees the Cats lead it by 15 points, and thanks to McDonald's, all this footy making you hungry. Dig into Macca's new 100% Aussie chicken burgers like seriously saucy palmy burger or the fiery McSpicy duck. A burger so hot it'll bring tears to your eyes. Now that's too good to keep to yourself. Get involved in some Macca's at half-time. We're going to hear from Duck shortly. We just heard a bit of Shepherd at half-time. Night-time looked spectacular. I loved it. Tommy Brown is inside the Gabba. Plenty of news, Tommy, at half-time.
Yeah, so I reckon the big story about that halftime entertainment, it was visually spectacular. There were about 600-odd volunteers, mainly kids with these white balls that changed all sorts of different colours. The music was good. And in the crowd, an activation where everyone wore light watches, 32,000 of them. I think there was 1,100 activations as part of that. It was just a spectacular sea of colour. And we talk about things like collective bargaining and money in football and all the rest of it. That was broadcast right around the country. It's a record length halftime, about 28-odd minutes. It's called prime time for a reason. It's got the most eyeballs. I know tonight's all about now this second half, which I can't wait for, but just from a halftime perspective, there's going to be mass discussion now about whether we ever, in my opinion, go back to a daytime grand final, because that's the exact type of thing, albeit with constraints, the AFL and entertainment type people talk about in terms of how good that can look on television at night. Back on the game, Vlossen, I saw him walking the boundary line before. He's A-OK from a general perspective. Clearly, he won't take further part in the game with those much better concussion protocols these days. But just in terms of the way he is, he actually looks relatively okay. No doubt he'll be feeling it, but that's an update on him. In terms of danger, well, he's copping a bit from the Tigers fans after that incident tonight, which I guess is fair enough. That'll be assessed on its merits, but it's certainly not bugging danger, as I just saw Steve Hocking walking across the ground after that as we speak. In terms of the protesters earlier, he couldn't have written the first 5 minutes, could you? It was a comedy duo, Marty and Michael. There was some talk they might have been protesters. The police up here were warned about some potential protest activity tonight, but they're going to cop an absolutely massive fine. I'll check on that in the second half, but I think it's in the tens of thousands of dollars. And just back on that halftime entertainment, organised in part by Tony Cochran, who's the chairman of the Gold Coast Suns. And as I said, I think it's going to create a lot of discussion about the fixturing in this night grand final.
Good on you, Tommy. Plenty to discuss there. And I'm with you, Tommy. I think the nighttime grand final, something can be very hard to overlook, Duck, going forward.
Here to stay forever?
I think so, Duck. I just can't imagine you'd go back. Just don't see the need to. I just think that provides so much more entertainment, so many more people watching it, Duck. That's my personal view.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Not sure. Enjoyed tonight, and I agree. It's a great spectacle with the lighting and everything else, but not sure it'll stay forever.
All right, 15-point lead at half-time to the Cats. Goal from Dusty Martin. Quick word, Duck, before we get to the next break.
Well, clearly, Cats in control, does.
All right, we're going to come back with more from the King Wayne Carey, more from Chris Judd, more from Nate Brown, some news to get through with Tommy Brown, the True Man and JB. Huge second half. The Cats lead it by 15 points. It's thanks to McDonald's. Triple M rocks footy.
Miss any of Triple M footy across the weekend? Catch up now on the Triple M app.
From McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
And as you know, Cbus is an award-winning industry super fund run only to benefit members, not shareholders, Doug.
Yeah, they're always putting their members' interests first, and it shows.
Yes, Cbus, my super option, has returned an average of 8.98% over the last 36 years. You take that every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Switch to Cbus today at cbussuper.com.au.
Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance. To consider if Cbus is right for you, go to cbussuper.com.au for a PDS.
Melbourne, it's time to win another premiership.
Yes! Yes!
We won the netball and, of course, the footy.
The Vicks are on fire!
And now the Melbourne Storm are going to squash the Cockroaches.
Beautiful try to the Melbourne Storm!
Our Storm take on the Panthers. So while Penrith fans might be able to go to the pub after the game, their drinks will taste like defeat. Join us tomorrow from 6 for Ream and McDonald's. Triple M rocks the NRL Grand Final.
Did you hear the latest with Ben?
So juicy.
Speaking of juicy, Macca's new chicken McPieces are so juicy and tender, and their chicken salt shaker fries are so crispy. And if you want
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Bob Jane's Emarts have the biggest range with the best deals. Buy 3, get 1 free on selected performance tyres from Bridgestone and Yokohama. Up to $100 instant cashback on a huge selection of passenger, SUV and 4x4 tyres from great brands. With Australia's largest tyre range from $59, best tyre price guarantee, and the biggest wheel selection, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply.
Head into IGA Liquor for incredible footy finals deals. Grab a 24-pack slab of Carlton Draft for only $46 or a 10-pack of Woodstock Bourbon and Cola for just $32. Only at IGA Liquor until Tuesday, November 3 or while stocks last. Drink responsibly.
This is the sound of old school thinking. This is the sound of so much more. Think outside with award-winning Ego Power Plus cordless outdoor power equipment. Our innovative 56-volt arc lithium battery delivers all the power of petrol without the noise, fuss or fumes. Plus, if you spend over $800, you'll get a free battery. And the more you spend, the bigger the battery you'll get. Search Ego Power Plus today. Ego, power beyond belief. T's and C's apply.
Installery. For the hottest of hot water you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Ream's been proudly manufacturing here in Australia for over 80 years.
Installery. Installery.
So ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
Are you a tradie who's thinking about getting your builder's registration? You're not alone. Master Builders has you covered with our registration workshops and training to help you get registered. Courses are delivered online and backed up with personalised support. Find out how to become a Master Builders member and check out all the benefits that come with it at mbav.com.au. That's mbav.com.au. Master Builders, your best mate when it comes to building your business. RTO 3935.
Whatever the job, big, small, a quick fix or a major project, there will always be that time when you're going to need a demo saw or a generator. There'll be times when you need an excavator, not to mention a puddle sucker or even a truck.
Boss! Sorry, I need a...
Yeah, they've got portaloos too.
Whatever you need it, Coates Hire has a million pieces of equipment to make it happen. Call now on 13 15 52.
At Kennards Hire, we only hire people who've taken the Ken Oath. By taking it, each team member goes above and beyond to help any citizen in need. The Ken Oath, it's a commitment that means more than the sanctity of marriage. The Ken Oath means you'll never miss smoko or beer o'clock. So if you want someone who can tackle whatever, whenever, wherever, talk to someone who's taken the Ken Oath.
How about last night's game?
The team was on fire.
Speaking of fire, have you tried Macca's new Fiery McSpicy or the seriously saucy Palmy Burger? They're irresistible.
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
Nothing more Aussie than a locally brewed, great-tasting beer that just does what it says on the can. Brick Lane Draft. Bloody good beer that goes bloody good with footy finals. Now at your nearest Dan Murphy's. Drink responsibly.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
This quarter for Ream. Built tough for Aussie conditions with the latest technology. When it comes to water heating, install a Ream.
Cats by 15 points. Ream, Australia's favourite hot water systems, of course. 80 years manufacturing in this country, building Aussie tough water heaters for Aussie families and Aussie conditions. Massive range, 6-star energy efficient models. Ask your plumber always to install a Ream. Got to go back to 1921. I just saw Duck for the last time the Tigers won a granny after trailing at half time.
Yeah, I'm not looking into that.
That's 100 years.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Here we go.
Did Josh give you that, or did you?
No, I just saw it on the screen, actually. Big second half underway.
Here we go.
And the Tigers trail by 15 points. Again, the bouncing's been very good. Nankervis worked it forward, pressed here off the ground, didn't get any purchase at all with the attempted socket, then tried to go again. Missed it 3 times, actually. O'Connor got walked into. He was thumped in a tackle. Rioli. Oh, nice early strike here. It'd be good for the Tigers. Graham got it back. Edwards. He's claimed in a tackle. Cochin on the up. Graham. Nice. Now they got numbers out wide, the Tigers. Inside 50 through Dusty. Thumps a high one. Very long and deep. And a free kick is going the Tigers' way against Henderson.
Did his work early, then Jack Rewalt. I thought he had a hold of Henderson early, but then he took the front position
and Henderson realised that he just slipped him that little bit, put his arms around him. It was very good body work by Jack Riewoldt to do his work early. That's a little grab that the umpire didn't see, and he was on the back foot, Henderson.
Looking at the Bosch Tools replay, I agree. If he had seen that, I reckon he lets that go because both hold him. But
this is a big start for the Tigers. Drag it back to 9 points. They've kicked the last 2 goals of this game. Jack Riewoldt gets his first, just his second kick. 4-2-26, 5-5-35, Triple M Ream scoreboard.
We criticised Richmond in the first half, often when they were entering their forward 50, and instead of banging it long, giving their big tall forwards a chance, they were chipping it wide out towards the boundary, often to 2v1s. That time Dusty Martin had the ball 70 metres out from goal, just put it to that dangerous space 20 metres out from goal. In the end, Jack Riewoldt had a one-on-one. He hasn't had many of them, neither's Tom Lynch, but we know that when they get those one-on-one opportunities, they are as dangerous as any tall forwards in the competition. So Richmond need to learn from that. They need to give their big tall forwards a chance, and when in doubt, they need to bang the ball long to that 20-metre arc instead of kicking it wide out towards the boundary.
Triple M Movember stats. The Tigers now last 10 entries inside 50 for 2 goals won. They've had 6 out of the past 8 clearances.
Remarkably, this game back to just 9 points. And that is brought to you on the Triple M Install the Ream scoreboard. So this powerful team, the Tigers, just find a way to claw themselves back after so much dominance in the second quarter from the Cats. Perfect bounce again. Stanley and Nankervis. Stanley did really well to Selwood, and we've seen that so many times. It's just so hard to tackle, isn't he?
He's brilliant at that.
He pops up again, wants to get it moving to Guthrie. Nankervis did really well. Ran on the ruckman, dragged Guthrie down, and now they've turned it over. They're dangerous here. They're streaming forward, the Tigers. This is where they're really good in the turnover. Number 1 team in the comp. It scores from turnover. Dusty's got it. He's got the big forwards in his sights. The little man there, Graham's been free kicked. Jack Graham can shoot from about 45.
He'll take a bow, big Nankervis in the middle. He gave away the free kick to Joel Selwood, but really made him hurt. Really got him around the neck, but then realised that Joel Selwood was going to get up before him, so he chased him. The handball was under pressure towards Guthrie, and the run down from big Nankervis, the turnover back the other way, and the Tigers were out everywhere.
It was sloppy from Selwood, wasn't it?
This man won a premiership in just his 5th game, Jack Graham. He missed out after a prelim injury last year's grand final. Normally a reliable set shot kick. That's a genuine sack. That almost rolled off his boot. It's been marked by Tom Stewart.
I think he hit that with his thigh.
How many intercept possessions now for Stewart?
Intercept possessions, Duck. That's 6 for him, along with 4 intercept marks.
Menegola kicks it down the line. In front, Kolajasny. Little squaring one, no good. Straight to Lambert. Lambert can go to Baker, just outside 50, and he can sit it inside 50 for Castagna. Horrible turnover.
Well, it's just been all turnovers to start this quarter for the Cats. They've been very, very sloppy. Come out half asleep. Too long, half time.
Jason Castagna to make it 3 in a row for the Tigers. Get them back to 3 points. Game high, Ash, for the Cats.
Yeah, 22 points, 18 minutes into the second quarter.
Kicked 5 points in last year's granny, didn't he? Castagna?
Yep.
Castagna, set shot. And that's wobbling through. 3 players on the line, couldn't touch it. Castagna has kicked his first, the Tigers 5th, and we've got a 3-point ball game.
If you wanted a perfect start for the Tigers, Johnny, that's exactly it. They've kicked the first 2 goals within 3 minutes. That's what Damien Hubbard would have asked for. Now you just get that little bit of a doubt in the Cats midfielders, and all around they go, okay, we're playing against the might of Richmond, who've won 2 of the last 3. Their game plan stacks up in big games. We've got this lead. We had it at halftime in the prelim last year. There's just that little doubt right now, and they need to win this next clearance.
They've just found the right balance, Richmond. When they've turned these balls over, they've used their players around them. Rather than bang the ball long when they're outnumbered, they've used the players around them. Then they've entered their forward 50 once they've had some good options. Really good by Castagna. Then they had 3 Cats on the goal line there, Duck, and if they'd have been set up differently, I feel like they almost could have jumped up to catch it, but they were all set up a bit deep, and in the end the ball went through almost head height, I reckon.
Yeah, they were very deep, weren't they? And in the end, looked like they didn't even get to that.
No.
But that's why in that first half, when you get the opportunities that the Cats had, you just have to nail those goals.
That's the Triple M Seabus Super Special Comments team. Seabus is super fun. You can trust Wayne Carey, Chris Judd, Nate Brown. Cats haven't been inside 50 since the 18-minute mark of the second quarter. And they've got to respond. Tom Stewart was outstanding in the first half. Only as far as Camden McIntosh on the wing. He surges it forward. Selwood fighting hard. Flicked forward by Graham in the way Tui. Still a ball to be won on the wing. Simpson, Dalehouse got crunched in a tackle. McIntosh picked it up. Here's Bolton. They're dangerous again, the Tigers. Graham linking up through the corridor. Bashahuli almost run down from behind. Picked up by Edwards. Fisted away from Lambert. Dusty with a rare little half fumble. Now trying to pick it up, Collar Jasny. Rioli worked him to the boundary line. And all of a sudden, the Cats are feeling genuine heat every time they get near the ball duck.
Yeah, they've gone up a level, the Tigers, with their pressure. I mean, they haven't helped themselves, the Cats, with some really poor decisions and disposal, but Richmond have certainly lifted.
They go to the top of the square again. All on his own was O'Connor. Handball to Henry, who had a horrible fumble. So now the wobbly boots are being worn by Geelong.
Yeah, and that's an easy clearance out of Richmond's forward line. You just can't afford to do that.
All of the doubt has gone from the Tigers onto the Cats. It's been an extraordinary turnaround in this game. 22 points it was. Now they lead by just 3. Simpson has it held in.
The surge is working well for him again, Ash. How many times has Shane Edwards kicked the ball off the ground? It seems like every time he's been near the footy tonight, he's kicked it off the ground.
Yeah, spot on, Brownie. 7 times. Overall, it's 21-7 Richmond's way with ground kicks.
Selwood wrapped up in a tackle. Duncan got a little inching one out of there. Asprey, and now they've got a chance through Hawkins. Now Ablett. Ablett over the top, Dalhouse. What's he got? Goal side. He gives it to Brian Myers. Hasn't had a great game, but that's a ripping finish. Brian Myers, beautiful business. And the Cats bite back. 6-5-41 to 5-2-32. Triple M installer room scoreboard.
And the cleanness from Ablett and Hawkins. So, two players that handle the footy really well. And it's a nice finish from Myers because as it's on the run, we know how he likes to kick when he does set shots. He ran straight at the goals and kicked it straight. Really nice finish on the run for him.
Almost just needed a nerve settler too. We spoke about their fumbles. It felt like Richmond were coming. First, you mentioned the senior players in Hawkins and Ablett taking the ball cleanly and settling the nerves, and then for Myers to get himself back in the scoreboard, gets himself back in control of this game, and it was starting to look like Richmond had all the momentum.
And the handball from Ablett, the reason why it's so important, because the play, it didn't break stride. If that's a little bit behind him, then that pressure gets put.
Geez, that's a good finish.
Yep. Nice finish.
Probably felt like he owed them one, Myers, wasn't he, from an earlier miss in the game. Tackle the heat, the new McSpicy burger from Macca's, thanks to Macca's, our marquee partner. And there is an AFL legend, an official legend, Malcolm Blight. Spent a lot of time in Queensland across his footballing journey.
He's a legend.
Great to see Blighty there.
One of the great men, Blighty.
He's a ripper. Here is Dustin Martin. Can they get the quick reply? Left foot kick wanted Nankervis, who's forward. Castanda did well. Hurry to kick towards the goal. It was always going to be to the near side and through for a minor score. So the Tigers 5-3-33. Geelong 6-5-41. That's your Triple M install the room scoreboard.
Tight grand final. Guthrie a short one. Works to Collar Jasny, who had a real wobbly moment by foot recently.
Shouldn't go short.
He's not going to duck. He's pumping along one down the line. They've got good numbers here, the Cats. It gets to the back.
Free kick to Stanley.
Push him under the ball.
Stanley will be the recipient of that free kick. Noah Bolter giving it away. Stanley just dumps it over the top. And the Cats can control along the wing the footy. They've got Guthrie right on the wing. Really has hosed down in Brisbane all day, but the weather has settled down for this game. We've now got beautiful footy conditions. Hawkins just couldn't hang on. Dalhouse taken high. He did slump in the tackle, but he was taken high, Luke Dalhouse.
Well, that's 50 from Graham that ran straight through the protected area.
So where does he go with this? This time he does sit it to a better spot. High ball. The fist. Stanley front and centre misses. Probably should have done better. 6-6-42, 5-3-33, Triple M installer ream scoreboard.
So Jaden Short now ball in hand with the fullback kick in. A fair bit of it tonight, Jaden Short. Out wide, placed it beautifully from McIntosh, so it's a really easy clearance. They get it to half forward. Lambert had a good play on the ball, but Lockie Henderson's been pretty strong tonight. Really done a pretty good job so far, Juddy, on Jack Rewalt.
He's had a brilliant 5 or 6 weeks. Had a really good year, full stop, Duke. And even that spoil there, it looked like Lambert was going to take that uncontested, but Hendo just willed himself on the game.
So the margin 9 points. Dan Curvis tried to manhandle his way into the ruck contest. Dusty Martin lurking and got it out to Prestia. Beautiful overlap run provided by Short. Now a good chance out the back. Stanley's going to take the mark. Oh, O'Connor, he stole it out of his hands. Then he fell over. Harry Taylor came in. Superb defensive effort from the Cats. There was a certain goal coming up, but there came Shea Bolton from nowhere. I thought they were out. Bolton goes short as he cocked it up. It's all happening. Kane Lambert's taken the mark. It was about an 8-metre kick, I reckon, but Lambert has claimed the mark.
Well called, Duke.
It's not 15 metres.
Not even close to 15.
Not.
Mind you, brave umpire. If you call on that in the,
well, you just got to say play on to that. That's nowhere near 15 metres.
Chaos happening everywhere there, and the Tigers, as a result, have an opportunity to cane Lambert. What a player he's been. Top 3 finishes in their best and fairest 2017, 2018. He just does the job for them. They need him to step up and kick this goal, and Lambert's done it. Kane Lambert kicks the goal. And we're back to a 3-point ball game in favour of the Cats. Triple M install the room scoreboard.
What I've enjoyed, Duck and Judge, has been the move of Noah Boulder into the ruck. I thought that Nankervis was being beaten early, and I just think he showed some real aggression. He was getting beaten up by Tom Hawkins at full back, and Tom Hawkins clearly won that role. But since Noah Boulder's gone on the ruck, I think Richmond have benefited from the clearance work.
Good call, mate.
Yeah, they have, Brownie. Thanks.
4 of the last 5 of this game have the Tigers. Bosch Tool replay screen. Bosch Tool, Power Tools, by the way, and accessories, good, better Bosch. And again, Martin involved, extricating that ball out of the stoppage. And they look dangerous now. The Tigers, they didn't for much of the first half.
Just not seeing many of those Geelong players sag off and take uncontested intercept marks this quarter. They seem to be able to equalise those numbers.
It really has been a case, though. I mean, Geelong have been their worst enemy because you see their Buse, who butchered it. We saw Colin Jasny butcher one this quarter. Cost 2 goals just from easy kicks that they should be able to make.
Back in the middle. 42-39. Blitzarves underneath it. Duncan got it back to Blitzarves. Handball now to Guthrie. Quick release kick. Bouncing inside 50. Myers and Dalhouse go to work. Now Blitzarves gets clear. No, that's on the ball. Great tackle short.
It's another example there from Dalhouse, just giving a handball he didn't need to give. He could have put that ball to the top of the square or even had a shot himself, but giving it to players under more pressure than what they're under.
That is a huge tackle from the little man Short on Blitzarves. Big moment. Halfback kick down the line. Tom Stewart went for the mark. Zach Tui was well tackled and they fist it forward. There's Noah Boulder getting involved. Here come the Tigers with all their pressure game really stepping up. They're going beautifully at the moment, too, man.
Yeah, their pressure rating this quarter at 210. AFL average is 185. But Jaden Short, number 1 ranked player on the ground, 18 disposals, but also throwing 4 tackles and 6 intercept possessions.
They are now back in control of this. You get the sense the Tigers, what have the Cats got? Selwood reefed into the ground. Duncan tried to get a little handball forward, couldn't. Tui. That's a touch ball, so we'll get play on here. To the back, Rowan has not seen the footy. And the ball's out.
Only 1 possession for Gary Rowan, JB, from 2 losing grand finals. He's only averaged 6 touches and kicked 1 major in total.
And Paddy Dangerfield hasn't had a touch for a long time either, Ash.
Dangerfield very quiet. He's only had the 8 possessions, statless this quarter.
On the ground, picked up by the Tigers, sliding towards Shea Bolton. Kick off the ground, he's out in the full. By the way, suicide rate for young Indigenous men 25 to 29 is among the highest in the world. Grow a Mo and save a bro. Go to Movember.com.
Lockie Henderson and half back. They just needed a steady here, the Cats. Really been jumped in this second quarter. They still lead it by 3 points, but the Tigers have responded as you always knew they would. Marlon Pickett cut. Well, he did keep it in the end. In fact, off hands. And on true centre wing, we have a boundary throw in. Great effort, Nate Brown from the Tigers.
It has been Duke. They've fought their way back into this, and it's been on the back of the pressure rating that Ash just said. They've won the clearances. Dan Curvis and Noah Bolter have both stepped up. Dustin Martin's been outstanding.
So now play on the ball for Prestia. The surge game is on here, Tui. He has to kick it hurriedly down the line. Parfitt's had a pretty quiet afternoon. In came Bashahuli. Jaden Short has been outstanding. Wobbles this kick to half forward. Bouncing ball. Reebok tries to slap it on. Martin picked it up. Dusty with an outside of the boot. Bouncing towards goal.
Yes.
Oh, you champ.
Yes.
He just does it every time, Dusty. He's got two. And the Tigers are in front. What about that? He's eyeing off an unprecedented third Norm Smith medal. And you wouldn't count him out from here. Triple M install the room scoreboard. Tigers by 3 points.
Well, if they stop the game now, Duck, Dusty Martin would have to be in strong contention for Norm Smith medal material. 2 goals, 315 metres gained, 16 touches. He's been brilliant, but you mentioned the Geelong big guns. The last 28 minutes, Duncan, only the 3 touches. He started brilliantly, Duncan, and he's been in ripping form. Paddy Dangerfield hasn't had a touch in the last 28 minutes, so we've seen Dusty really take his game to the next level. Geelong need to answer with some of them big guns now.
Where it was Richmond kicking right around the corner in that first half under pressure. Every time the Cats get the ball now, they seem to be kicking across their body with a Richmond player bearing down on them. They're not getting enough purchase on the footy. That time it was Zach too. He kicked it straight back to the Tigers, and that's the result.
He's been involved in everything in this third term, so kicked one himself. How many score involvements in this term, or chains, that he's been involved in, Dusty?
3 score involvements, Duck.
Yeah, so premiership quarter, they call it.
5 of the last 6 goals in this game for the Tigers. Must answer now, the Cats. Selwood goes charging through, gets boot to ball, and there's a free.
Joel Selwood on the 50, Back out.
So
he caught one high, Jim.
But it's on the 50.
How can it be all the way back on the 50?
It's a late call, I reckon. I reckon they called it for an earlier incident. Just there.
Oh, yeah. He kept running with it. Yep.
The ball will have to come back, and if he's going to have a set shot, he'll be kicking from 50. So it'll take everything he's got.
Shane, hold!
Had a blistering start to this game, Joel Selwood.
One thing, Joel, is over his career where clutch shots he nails. Now, this might be a little bit too far for him, but he is one guy that can kick a clutch goal.
To give the Cats back the lead. It's offline, and it hasn't got the journey anyway. Rowan can't hang on. Graham taken out of it by Danger. Now this is a very dangerous position for the little star Ablett, and then Simpson smothered. They've driven it outside defensive 50 here, the Tigers, and O'Connor kicks it out in the full.
Well, it's just been their ball use, the Cats. Richmond obviously lifted, but as we've said, it's just another poor kick on their behalf.
So the defensive kick from the Tigers down the line. Stanley had a good play on it, didn't take the mark. Selwood, his kick was smothered. Simpson came through for the Cats. Now at ground level, Shea Bolton just gets a 15-metre job into the centre of the ground. Worked off at Rioli, now Kolajasny. Got a nice handball to Bledsoe. Worked his way through some traffic. Back to Parfitt. Can get boot to ball. High one inside 50. Dangerfield fell over. Grimes got rid of him with a spoil. Back to the defensive zone. Broad pirouetting, spinning, and then well tackled by Myers. Umpire sees it as a holding the ball, and I think it's the right decision there, Juddy.
It was probably the right decision, but when Broad is the only one to attack it, takes the game on, grabs the ball, and really as soon as he collected his thoughts he was tackled. It was the right call, but it's a shame.
Here comes Guthrie, got the receiving handball, flying shot, misses to the near side. Back to a 2-point ball game. Tigers with the lead. Triple M install the room scoreboard.
Amazing game of footy. Halfway through that second term, you couldn't see how Richmond could win it. And they have done what they're so good at doing. Just work rate, Nath. They've worked their way back into it, and now you can't see them not winning it.
No, we saw that Damien Harbuck said at half-time, we're getting beaten around the scrimmages. That's the exact area they've picked up on in this third term.
There is Rowan, just got a little inching kick forward. Myers, Hooley, who's been quiet for him in a granny. And it's going to be a ball up. Yes, Ash.
Triple M November stats. Geelong took 31 uncontested marks in the first half. They've only taken 6 in this term.
They've got it in their forward half. Stanley back, Parfitt couldn't hang on. And a ball in.
Just the 8 possessions for danger, as you said before, Juddy and Nath. he's obviously playing the role forward. What do? Do you get him around the ball for a while?
I get him around the ball, Duke, for sure. Particularly that area of the stoppages is where Richmond feels like they've gotten back into this game.
They'll be throwing 70 metres around from the Cats' goal. Here's the clearance situation, and Shea Bolton's good enough to win it. Gains about 50 metres down the line. Stewart with a 2-on-1. Now they work their way back into it. The Tigers are just finding a way to win these 50-50s. Lynch picks it up, hacks it around the corner. Rioli back with a flight. Henry did superbly well. Just wanted a bit more than Rioli on that occasion. Took a beautiful mark at halfback.
You're right though, Das. They're just winning all of those 50-50 balls at the moment, the Tigers.
Henry long down the line. Oh, Guthrie! That's a big clunker. In a grand final, a big hitch and climb. He wants to bite off a little one, he does. That's a little memory for him. Get that on your face of your phone and show it to anyone at a bar. Long down the line go the Cats. Gets through a couple of sets of hands. Prestia. Selwood's been superb. Handball now to Ablett. Outside 50. Wobbles it brilliantly to Hawkins. Just hold up. Tommy Hawkins.
Yeah, go back. This is not beyond Tommy.
He's going to run around, wants to do it quickly, the Hawk. And that is nearly out the full.
When he rushes those, Jim, he really rushes them. If he goes back, takes his time, he's a very good snap at goal, but we've seen him time and time again rush those snapshots and miss.
Yeah, spot on, Brownie. When he takes his time, he hardly ever misses.
Well, a strange decision, wasn't it? 1 point lead to the Tigers. The centre wing, Jack Ruvolt, well intercepted by O'Connor. Back to Henry. Tumbles it down the line. Dangerfield quiet. Can he get access to this? Little fumble from Danger at ground level. In came Dalhouse to lend some support. Mullen pick it over the top, and very rarely see that from the champ Dangerfield.
Just getting back to Tom Hawkins, I reckon he missed a lot of set shots in that first final he played. I don't think he's got his confidence back from a few weeks ago.
All at ground level to be won. Edge of 50 for the Cats into attack. Now Reece Stanley, high up and under job. Got to get a contest here, the Cats. Rowan did that, well taken Simpson. Well tackled from behind by Short. Dalhouse slapped it towards Ablett. Ablett, can he get the ball? Over the top was Grimes, and Prestia came back. He looks a bit sore again, Gaz.
Out of play, and we'll get a ball in, and Gaz is slow to get up. In fact, they're calling it deliberate, I think. So the Cats will bring it back into play. They are getting some repeat entries this last couple of minutes, Geelong, and Gary Ablett just copped a little stinger on that shoulder.
Yeah, just whenever he puts his hand on the ground, that movement, it obviously upsets that shoulder.
So back in go the Cats, and they get a marking player forward to the ball. Dalhouse off the ground, couldn't get any purchase at all. Good forward pressure from Parfitt, and we'll get a boundary throwing.
That's the result they wanted to, the Cats. They get an opportunity here now. You can see Ablett talking to Hawkins.
He just said, grab it out of the ruck, Duck, didn't he?
Yep.
And get it to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure he'll...
You want to run around on his left, Gary Ablett here?
And keep an eye on that. That was the set play called. Can Hawkins get the strength to do it? He worked Nankervis off it, but Asprey slapped it forward. Now Bolton coming through Buse. He's bundled over the boundary line. And they'll throw it in inside forward 50 again for the Cats. So the margin just 1 point, minute 51 remaining until three-quarter time. The Tigers have been enormous. There's a 15-point lead at half-time to the Cats. And they've reduced, in fact, the Tigers now lead it by a point. So boundary thrown again, looking for Ablett. He copped it backhanded, Gaz. Gets a bit sore again, picked up by Buse, stepped around to tackle. High searching and wide kick out of bounds on the full. So the Tigers with some relief deep in defence.
See the replay of Gaz wincing. The painkiller might just be wearing off, a touch in the shoulder. As we've got a minute 30 left. Long and wide, and simple mark to Menegola. Play on, so he goes centering here to Duncan. Off a step, he goes to a hot spot. Rowan runs under the footy. Nankervis's ball to the back was smothered by Dalhouse. In fact, it was Castagna who was trying to deliver.
That's a good smother.
And we'll have a boundary throw in. Minute 19 left inside. Forward 50, Hawkins to the front, Bolton. Boot to ball, big ball to win here. Kolajasny, no, Martin wins it. There's no surprise, just pumps it forward. But Blitzards is back there all on his own. Needs this to sit. Been a bit wobbly in this game, the Blitz. He's got around, that's okay, but Henry coughs it up. Here we go. This is what the Tigers do. Edwards walks in, and they have missed. Amazing. From 25 out, he's missed. Tigers lead by 2 points.
The Cats have to fix up these basic skill errors. Over handballing the footy and Tigers pressure. You just can't do that.
What about the one-on-one win? Dusty Martin, the best one-on-one player in the comp. There's Gary Rowan. They need more out of that man.
Yeah.
Just his second touch in the grand final, taking the mark at half-back. 36 seconds and counting remaining in the third quarter.
It was a good time to take the mark, though, because and then he's dumped out of bounds and we'll have a boundary throw. And he marked that ball. If he didn't mark it, there was 3 Richmond players at ground level ready to take that ball away. It was a good one that he marked.
Just an inexplicable kick there from Gary Rowan. He had a 15-metre target and missed it by 10 metres.
They've done that all quarter, the Cats.
So 29 seconds until three-quarter time. Boundary thrown on the wing. Kolajasny tried to work Martin underneath it. Simpson came back in. Good young player. Look at Bolton. He's a really exciting young man. Here comes Harry Taylor, who's been really good on Lynch. Slapped it forward. Rewalt, little don't argue, and then dispossessed. Probably should have been holding the ball. Now Parfitt gets the kick forward.
Pumping long 1v2. Hawkins has got to clear this up, and then danger. Can he get out the back? They number up here, the Tigers, pretty well. Baker did nicely. Hooley the handball. There's the three-quarter time siren. 2-point lead Richmond. Tommy Brown.
JB Ablett just willed himself during that quarter with that shoulder pain. Clearly, whatever he had was wearing off. He's now grimacing in pain, holding that left shoulder as he comes across to the bench. Interestingly, the Cats left him on. He just wandered around half forward, clearly trying to get a goal towards the end of that quarter. But he's actually going directly off now with the trainer. I expect he'll go down the room. Juddy, you'd perhaps be best to comment on this from a medical perspective, but he's obviously going to have to jabbed up again or do whatever they can do to it and try and just will himself into this last quarter. But she was a brave effort.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that, mate. Bob Jane Team Arts. Buy 3, get 1 free. Selected performance tyres, Bridgestone, Yokohama. BobJane.com.au, and the Installer Ream scoreboard has the Tigers up by 2 points after they trailed by 22 halfway through the second term. It has been a mighty performance from this club. Installer Ream, by the way, built tough for Australian conditions. Latest technology when it comes to water heating. Install a Ream. The Tigers, final change, lead it by 2 points for McDonald's. Triple M rocks the grand final.
That quarter for Ream. Built tough for Aussie conditions with the latest technology. When it comes to water heating, install a Ream.
For McDonald's.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's.
Bruce Springsteen. He's rocked stadiums.
Give me some slack.
And stereos across the globe. So it's only deserving he gets his own show on Triple M without having to hand out icy cold cans of Coke for 3 years first. From his home to yours,
I want to thank you for spending this time with me.
Bruce Springsteen and E Street Radio.
This one goes out to all the folks we love.
Tonight after the footy on Triple M.
Head into IGA Liquor for incredible footy finals deals. Grab a 24-pack slab of Carlton Draft for only $46 or a 10-pack of Woodstock Bourbon and Cola for just $32. Only at IGA Liquor until Tuesday, November 3 or while stocks last. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to protecting your valuable machinery or vehicle, there is no better choice than Fuchs Lubricants, Australia's largest manufacturer of lubrication products. Fuchs' superior customer service and product range covers everything from automotive and agricultural through to manufacturing and mining. To find out where you can find the latest oils and greases, proudly Australian-made using German technology and Australian know-how, head to fuchs.com.au or call 1800 1800 13.
At Kennards Hire, we only hire people who've taken the Ken Oath. By taking it, each team member goes above and beyond to help any citizen in need. The Ken Oath, it's a commitment that means more than the sanctity of marriage. The Ken Oath means you'll never miss smoko or beer o'clock. So if you want someone who can tackle whatever, whenever, wherever, talk to someone who's taken the Ken Oath.
Kennards make your job easy.
Right now, at Cbus, we're building a new future for all of us. By building new projects in property, investing in infrastructure and putting millions into Australian businesses, we're not only helping to create around 100,000 jobs, we're strengthening the economy. And with a history of strong, long-term performance, we're building a better, more secure future for all of us. To consider if Cbus is right for you, go to cbussuper.com.au for a PDS.
How about last night's game?
The team was on fire.
Speaking of fire, have you tried Macca's new Fiery McSpicy? Or the seriously saucy Palmy Burger? They're irresistible.
Macca's new chicken menu. Too good to keep to yourself.
Available after 10:30am.
When you just want a straight-up, great-tasting, refreshing beer that hits the spot, Brick Lane Draft is bloody good. Pick up a bloody good slab for footy finals weekend. Now at your nearest Dan Murphy's. Drink responsibly.
At Choice Hotels, we know you don't always need a passport for the perfect holiday, especially when you live in this beautiful country. So if you're seeking a short break or getaway this spring, Choice Hotels is there, with hotels across Australia. From Cairns to Coffs Harbour, Apollo Bay to Adelaide, and everywhere in between. For a limited time only, you can enjoy 20% off when you book direct at choicehotels.com for the lowest price guaranteed. Subject to availability, T's and C's apply. See choicehotels.com.
Introducing Goat Lotto. You could win $50,000 or lots of other stuff, like this stubby holder, which none of you can actually see, but just imagine a stubby holder. You can win that. Simply buy a carton of Goat Very Enjoyable Beer, upload your receipt to enter the draw, and don't forget to watch the Goat Lotto show at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on November 11. 18 plus only. Ends November 8. Prizes drawn November 9. See goatlotto.com.au for T's and C's. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to protecting your valuable machinery or vehicle, there is no better choice than Fuchs Lubricants, Australia's largest manufacturer of lubrication products. Fuchs' superior customer service and product range covers everything from automotive and agricultural through to manufacturing and mining. To find out where you can find the latest oils and greases, proudly Australian made using German technology and Australian know-how, head to fuchs.com.au or call 1800 1800 13.
Need a reliable paint? Try our new Taubman's Professional Paint range. It has great coverage and you can recoat in 2 hours. So if you need a professional finish, use new Taubman's Professional Paint. In store now. Bunnings Trade. Made for the trade.
Triple M rocks the grand final.
This quarter for Bunnings Trade. New range of professional paint now in store.
Had a bit of everything this grand final, season 2020, and at three-quarter time, thanks to McDonald's rocking the grand final. The Tigers lead it by 2 points. We had Boston knocked out in the first quarter. Ablett did his shoulder. He's played on. We've had two idiots, Marty and Michael, invade the pitch, Juddy. Apparently they're comedians with 1 million Instagram followers. It's had everything, and the game hasn't disappointed at all. Wayne Carey, Nath Brown and Chris Judd. Toss a coin for me in this last quarter. Could go either way.
Oh, absolutely, Duke. And we spoke a bit about that quarter. Geelong's skill errors and how they were starting to cough the ball over, but you could just as easily put the focus on Richmond's tackle pressure because it went through the roof in that quarter. They've dominated that area of the game, and in that quarter, Geelong just couldn't handle the pressure, Duck.
Yeah, and probably should be further up, Richmond, to be honest, just like the Cats should have been further up at half-time, Duke. So, for me, it's all about for Geelong. If they can tidy up those fundamental skill errors that they had in that third term, don't worry about the pressure, just the basic skill errors that they got wrong. If they can tidy that up, then the Cats can obviously win this game of footy.
Well, they got their surge game going, didn't they, Richmond? And every time they surged, they put pressure on the Cats. When the Cats were picking the footy up, they were under the pump. I can think of Zach Tui being under the pump. The one where Blixarves ran back to pick it up. He just took that little bit of extra time to pick it up, and Richmond just swarmed on him. And they played the game predominantly in their half of the ground in that quarter, bar probably 5 minutes at the end.
Time to put Paddy Danger back in the middle of the ground.
Yeah.
They only had the one touch that quarter. It's not going to impact the game if they're not winning the ball at the stoppages. That's what got them in control in that first half. Time to put Paddy back in the middle.
Let's get down to Tommy Brown for Bob James Team Arts.
Just an electric atmosphere down here. As a newsman, we're going to see so many stories develop during this quarter. Danger, effectively his first grand final. They're so hard to make. Ablett, his final grand final. Can Richmond score 3 premierships in 4 years, which was Brendan Gale's specific directive and target by 2020? People laughed at him. It's all going to develop in the next 15, 20, 25 minutes. And so many talking points tonight. Can't wait.
Bob Jane Team Arts, buy 3, get 1 free. Selected performance tyres, Bridgestone and Yokohama. BobJane.com.au. Boys, do we have Dusty Martin with a Norm Smith?
He's best man on the ground at the moment.
Unprecedented third. He's chasing tonight. Here we go. The last quarter underway. Hold on to your chair. This is going to be enormous. Selwood in there. Nankervis has had some big moments. It's the Tigers who go forward for the first time, and Lynch takes a mark. Can't remember him taking another mark.
That's his first mark, Das.
1-on-1 for Rewalt.
Lynch just shanked the kick inside 50 and it's landed straight into the lap of Reece Stanley.
So Stanley inside defensive 50, but can't see anything he really likes, and then he goes wide to a weird spot. Gets to the back of Henderson. Baker just dribbled it along the ground. They got players out here, the Tigers. Revolt slid it across to Graham. Inside 50 ball to a really dangerous spot. Lambert went and found it. Gave it to Prestia. First goal of the final term to the Tigers. That's big. Dion Prestia. He's got a couple. 8-4, 52 to 6-8, 44. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard.
And once again, the possession coming out of your defensive part of the ground. Reece Stanley.
What was that?
He kicks it to a 2-on-1. A 2-on-1, and in actual fact, it was worse than that because Richmond had the numbers on that side of the ground as well. So the fact that they won the 2-on-1, the quick kick went to their advantage and to their numbers.
Triple M November stats. Richmond number 1 for scores from turnovers, averaging 43 points per game. All 8 majors have come from Geelong turnovers this evening.
Triple M November stats with the true man. Testicular cancer is the number 1 cancer in young men. Grow a motor, save a bro. Go to Movember.com. He's the true man for that. What a start for the Tigers. Dion Prestia, he was their best and fairest winner in last year's premiership year. Been injured for much of this year. And he's kicked a couple of goals in the grand final.
Brilliant take from Lambert, wasn't it?
They have to get this clearance, the Cats. Need to respond. It's just an 8-point margin, but momentum game, and the Tigers are sniffing. But they have got head of steam up. Dangerfield. Going to get the free kick, as you can hear. And this will just be Paddy's 10th possession of the grand final. Can the champ, the All-Australian captain in 2020, find another gear? They need him to. Drives it long. Hawkins is the intended target. Now nearly just dropped the mark in the end. He got rid of Asprey, did all the hard work. And now off hands. Out of bounds for a boundary throw in attack for the Cats.
Asprey effectively gave up on that contest. He just completely outmuscled it in the end. Just an uncontested chest mark to Hawk was dropped.
Ablett continues to sit it out. 8-point lead to Richmond. Nankervis to the front, brilliantly taken by Edwards. Tumbles it down the line, and a free kick's going to go Revolt's way for high contact. Everything's starting to go the Tigers' way.
Yeah, and you can see there, Nankervis got in front of Hawkins in that ruck contest, and they get the clearance.
Shane Edwards clearance again.
He's had a good game.
Jack Revolt long to half forward. And Lynch got to the front, couldn't hang on, then got wrapped up by Stewart. Harry Taylor, they've got very fumbly back here. The Cats, they'll go forward through Lynch. Bouncing ball's going to miss. And the throw in deep.
And that's a part of the game that Harry Taylor, we admire him. He's been a great player for this team, but below his knees now, very, very iffy.
And they won't mind this at all, the Tigers, building some pressure, boundary thrown deep in attack. They're very dangerous in this situation. The runners come at it. Dusty Martin looked like he was going to get the ball. Here come Blitzars the other way and shins it forward. Still isn't clear defensive 50. Marlon Pickett threw it over his head. Back to Hawley. Wild boot from Edwards. And the umpire, I think quite correctly, is awarding a free kick to Luke Dalhouse at half-back. 8-point lead in favour of the Tigers. Early stages this final term, and 50
metres.
Big.
Just overstepped the mark there, Marlon Pickett. And that will bring Luke Dalhouse to centre forward, not within scoring range. Just having a look at the Bosch Tools replay. Pretty clear, overstepped the mark. Dangerfield smashed into the pack. Front centre Henderson dispossessed. And Boulder got him. So the Tigers just coming up the plays at the right time.
What about the courage of Jack Graham there to realise Dangerfield was coming out like a steam train to just stand in his way. Dangerfield crunched him, did what he needed to do, but it definitely stopped the mark.
6 of the last 7 goals of this game, the Tigers. Only 1 goal in the second half, Geelong. They have to hit the scoreboard next.
They've played some big tackles, haven't they, Richmond, in the second half.
Bolter, long one. Henderson taken under the footy. Harry Taylor, this is where they've really got wobbly. Martin, Bolton, Rioli. This time he's owned in a tackle from Henderson. And a ball up.
Thank you.
Contested possessions 10-4, Ash, in this final term.
Yeah, spot on, JB. And Richmond plus 25 in tackles for the game.
So it just looks a long way back here for Geelong. They've got to find a way. Blitzarves got it to Selwood. Down the line, it gets to the back. This could work for them. Here's Myers. Long ball inside 50, no one home. Simple for Broad.
Done a very, very good job, Nathan Broad.
Really poor kick in the end from Myers. Didn't go to the advantage.
Well, those ones in the first half, they were spotting up. They were seeing the players. Now they're under pressure. Now the heat is on, and they just haven't had the poise, the Cats.
Can they trap it in their forward half here? The Cats fisted back by Lockie Henderson. Camden McIntosh. Nice take from Jaden Short at half back. Beautiful kick to the wing. It was a 40-metre dart. Found the intended target, and now the Tigers get it to Lynch. Been very quiet, but just starting to find a bit of the footy. 60 from home. Tom Lynch takes his time.
He's got Short.
And ignored it, Duck. Pops it down the line instead, deep into attack. Here comes Reece Stanley. And he punches it over for a boundary thrown deep in attack for the Tigers, who lead it by 8 points.
Look, they're happy with these forward 50 stoppages, though, the Tigers. Give them a chance to set up behind the ball. And as you touched on before, Duke, they do look dangerous with these forward 50 stoppages.
They're getting exactly that. Juddy. Ball to ground. Stanley outside of the boot. Myers taken away from it by Short. Pickett coughed it up. Nankervis. Thumping handball works. Short's been very good. Sits it again to a really dangerous spot. They thump it into the goal square. Castagna just can't quite get there. Tommy Brown.
Let's get down to Tommy Brown.
JB, Ablett's back on the ground, which is a good sign as far as Geelong's concerned. He was wandering by himself on that wing, but he's going to give it one more shot. You'd think with that shoulder, he still looks in pain.
Yeah, he's back out there now, Tommy. Thanks for that update for Bob Jane T-Marts. Next goal this game might be the deciding one. Grimes has taken a good mark. Spent most of the night blanketing Dangerfield. Short.
Don't go forward.
To the skipper, Cochin. So all on the Tigers' terms at the moment. Cochin just pops it inside forward 50. Spore from Stanley was a dangerous one to the goal line, but Menegola was first back there. Gets it to his defensive 50 zone. Parfitt managed to hack a little 15-metre up and under kick, but the mark's taken by Bolt.
Everything falling here for the Tigers. Bolton steps away. High ball forward. Lynch has got out the back. And he will kick a goal from point-blank range. And it is looking very, very tough now for the Cats. They are on the ropes.
Fortune favours the brave, doesn't it? Bolton there took the mark. Looked like Richmond were going to be tempted to start to go slow and almost take some steam out of the game, but he ended up playing on quickly, surrounded by three. Cats took the game on, and Richmond lining up for a goal from 4 metres out as a result.
This will be 7 of the last 8. And 6-1 in the second half. It has been emphatic from the Tigers. Are they en route to their 3rd premiership in 4 years? Lynch slams it home. And it is 6-8-44 to 9-5-59. The Tigers now by 15 points. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard.
Well, it's what the Tigers are winning the game for what they've been known for the last 3 or 4 years, and that is build off the back of pressure. When they need to lay a tackle, they lay the tackle. So Geelong haven't been able to break. You see there, Bolton, what does he do? He breaks a tackle. So Geelong, who are not as good in that area, are just starting to falter. Richmond just gets stronger in it and running away with this one now.
Well, they've turned the footy over a fair amount of times in this 3rd quarter and now this 4th quarter, Duck. And it's easy to kick the footy and to do everything right when you're going really well like you were in the first half, and all of a sudden the options dry up. Your decisions don't become as easy, which makes that goal that Dustin Martin kicked just before half-time all the more important. Like, everything was going for Geelong. All of a sudden, he did something out of the ordinary, which brought them back. It was only a 15-point margin when he kicked that goal, but that's something that the Cats haven't been able to do in this second half, create something out of nothing.
Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard. Bunnings trade, new range of professional paint now in store. Tigers by 15 points. And as JB said, 7 of the last 8 goals for Tigers. Here's Dusty. He bends this one around inside forward 50. Lynch looming large all of a sudden. Fisted to the ground level, picked up by Marlon Pickett. Tigers everywhere inside forward 50. Cochin taken high. Free kick goes the way of the skipper. irrepressible Richmond at the moment.
Move away, please.
What a performance this is. Trent Cotchin right on the edge of his range, I reckon, Brownie.
I'm not sure he's got the distance from here, Duke. That'd take his very, very best. He's a 40 to 45 metre kick at best.
Looking to be the first Richmond captain ever to win 3 flags. What a record it would be. He's going to go back, give it his all. So this would be a body blow if he can find a way. Just edges it across the face of goal to the goal line, and the Cats defenders deal with that. So out to a 16-point margin in favour of the Tigers. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard.
Still plenty of time if the Cats are good enough. 9.5 minutes is an eternity in football, but they need to start making the right decisions. They need to start hitting targets and just getting a bit of overlap.
Stewart's just gone straight down the middle.
Holding Dave Asprey, Richmond. Dave Asprey.
And it's going to go to Asprey, the free. Danger thought it was his. Very, very ballsy place to bring it in from. Straight down the middle and just doesn't quite get to Lynch. Goes back and finds it at ground level. And now hovers over the top of the footy, and the umpire's going to ball it up.
They're just so tentative now.
Well, it's not their natural modus operandi, Geelong, either, with that aggressive ball movement. They're usually a controlled ball movement team, particularly out of their half back line. So that's one of the challenges they're now facing.
They've got the staggers duck. That's what they've got.
Yep.
And it's hard to see him dragging it back. Martin's been superb. Taken in the Colajasny tackle.
Triple M Movember stats, JB. So Geelong concede the least number of points from turnovers at only 28 points per game tonight. They've conceded 57.
57 from turnover. O'Connor just bashes it out of there. This now has to work for the Cats. Myers to Ablett. Ablett just walked past a couple of tacklers and then measures it over the top. Rowan drops a chest mark. Grimes comes in. Tui, can he make it work? Back to Rowan. Rowan can't get around a couple of tacklers. Richmond have been superb when it comes to this part of the game, and Short's able to bring it away.
He does, with a spiral that lands in the lap of the Cats' defence. It's Harry Taylor who gets it short and wants to get moving. Trying to get some interchanges working. The Cats, as the ball is on centre wing right in front of their interchange bench, and they double long kick to half forward. Noah Bolter uncontested at half back. Stands tall.
Grimes took the mark, but it was Grimes on Paddy Dangerfield's bodywork, wasn't it, that went unrewarded.
Just looks like the life has been sucked out of the Cats at the moment. Can they get off the canvas? Lambert, Martin just walked through a tackle. Open goal square.
No way.
Bouncing. There's your third, Norm Smith. It's there. He's going to win 3.
Jeez.
No one's done it ever before in the history of the game.
No.
3 goals to Dusty. 22-point margin. And, well, it's going to be almost impossible from here for the Cats. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard. How good was that?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And you're right. He has been, he's been the match winner. No question about that. As we've mentioned already, the goal before half-time, third quarter, superb. Best player on the ground in that third quarter. And now to kick a goal and have his hand in plenty of other scoring chains. He's been brilliant.
Again, broken tackle twice.
The courage of Damien Hardwick to take Bolter off Tom Hawkins early, because I think Bolter's been very good since he's been taken off Tom Hawkins. His ruck work, and he's played that. He's almost played a second midfielder behind Nankervis as a ruckman. I think he's been involved in everything.
Bosch replay tools there. Bosch power tools and accessories. Good, better Bosch showed a big celebration from Dusty. 29-767 the crowd number. Tigers who win their 3rd flag in 4 years, unless the Cats can perform some sort of miracle. Buse got it off to Selwood, who's been one of the Cats' very best. High ball forward. Menegola came from nowhere and absolutely split his teammate down the middle.
He's knocked out
Sam Simpson.
He's gone. He's got that.
Don't worry about the mark. Can you please stand away like I've asked you? Can you please stand away?
That's courageous from both players.
Look, where you reach your arm up, Juddy, is that grab for consciousness almost. So
yeah, he's clearly out, isn't he? He still hasn't moved, so we hope he comes good. Simpson, that was just a brutal contest, and the courage of Menegola just to go back with the flight like that was just putting his body in an incredibly dangerous position.
So this is arriving at the right time for the Cats. They trail by, not that we obviously have great feeling for Sam Simpson and make sure he's okay, but the Cats can regroup. They've got 7.5 minutes and they're 22 points down, so they need every single thing to go right from here. Joel Selwood brings them in.
You know, funny enough, JB, I think it's almost better for Richmond.
Do you?
To be honest. Yeah, I think the Cats need the game to be quick and energetic and a bit of chaos now. I think slowing the game down, Richmond can get all their numbers back. They can talk about how they want to slow the game down, how long until they start to slow their ball movement down. So I think Richmond would be quite comfortable with this break.
Tackle the heat of the new McSpicy burger from Macca's. 22-point lead enjoyed by the Tigers. They've kicked 7 of the 8 goals kicked in this second half. It, in so many ways, mirrors that prelim final. The Cats had a massive first half and then just got mown down by the emphatic way the Tigers play, and this has got a very similar feel about it.
Yeah, it was 21 points in the half-time last year, and it was Trent Cotchin who started it with a big tackle on Reece Stanley just after the restart in the second half, and that got the Tigers going. As there's more shots here of Sam Simpson, who's been a really good player since coming back into this side, really talented young player. But it all starts for the Cats now. They're 22 points down. Menegola, who's a very good set shot at goal, he's going to have to kick this every bit of 55. He's a long kick of the football, but for the Cats to have any hope, he just has to nail this goal.
Has to kick it, Brownie. Has to kick it.
Second big concussion of the game. Nick Vlosten gone really early. About the first 3 minutes, he was knocked out, and now Sam Simpson, we see getting placed on the stretcher, and they've got the card out there, so got 2 or 3 more minutes of this. You suspect all care must be taken when a player's concussed for obvious reasons. Long range set shot will be taken by Menegola. If he's able to kick it accurately, they'll be inside 3 goals, the Cats, and they'll have 7 minutes to kick 3. It's a big, big ask.
Still too long for Richmond to just try and shave seconds off the clock post this kick, JB. I think they've probably got to get through another 2 or 3 minutes of football regardless of what happens with this kick before they can really start to look to slow the game down and chew up the clock.
The other thing that it does is players, Dusty went off for a rest.
Yeah.
So he's now back on the ground.
Yeah.
He's not missing any game time now. So it allows you to get your best team.
Can you make any changes during that period, can you?
I assume so.
He certainly came off the bounce as soon as that.
Yep. It's a good break for everyone, isn't it? So your best players probably don't need to go off again for the rest of the game.
Sam Simpson again, you can see movement with him, so he has regained consciousness, but he is being taken from the ground, obviously, and will play no further part. It's a brutal game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely got Tolac.
Incredible mark by Menegola to pull it off. It was in the Nick Revolt, John O'Brown's sort of style, wasn't it? It just, fortunately, he's cleaned up his teammate, Sam Simpson, as a result.
So the little man who has made, as Nath Brown said, a big impact since coming back into this Cats side, had a really good final series. Father-son, of course. His old man played back in the 80s and 90s for the Cats. And the second big delay we've had in this game with the stretcher being brought out. So Simpson, now the stretcher starts rolling off the Gabba. We've got 7 minutes and 28 seconds left. Every single thing needs to go right from here for the Cats. Starting with this set shot from Menegola. You can see Sam Simpson's hands coming up to his face, so he looks like he's recovered himself and has at least got movement, and that's all, and that's good. So thoughts with him, obviously, and his family watching. Looks like he's going to be okay, so we have to get him off the stretcher and then get the buggy off the ground, so we've still got some time. to go. There are shots here at the Gabba. It's been good, Duck, I reckon. I mean, no one ever thought we'd get a grand final here, but it's worked.
No, we had, if you look at social media, which is what we tend to go off these days, Juddy, there were a few critics before the game, but I think the halftime entertainment and the light show and everything else, and it does. It looks magnificent at night, doesn't it? I think any stadium. Imagine Optus Oval over in Perth, how that would have scrubbed up.
Could have happened, couldn't it have? They had played a little bit nicer ball with the AFL throughout the year, but certainly just rewards for Queensland to get the grand final after what they contributed to the season this year.
Just showed a shot of the State Premier of Queensland, Anastasia Palaszczuk, and she's got an election in about a week and a half's time.
Palaszczuk, I think you pronounce that.
Palaszczuk, is it? It's a big moment for her too, isn't it? Because to get this through successfully without incident or without any drama, it's a massive political win for her, and she took a bit of a risk taking the AFL on, JB.
Brilliant. I love it.
She's
in rugby league home territory.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. Brian Cook on the screen and Colin Carter. What a great job they've done too as the chairman and CEO of the Cats. Just hearing that Swanee has tweeted, there's clearly never been a better big game player in the history of football than Dustin Martin. He and Michael Jordan sit at the same table, Swanee reckons.
It's a fair call.
Hard to argue if he's wandering into third Norm Smith territory. So here we go. We're about to get a restart.
It'd have to take someone to do something extraordinary in this last 7 minutes to take it off him.
No chance of it going off him, I reckon, Duck. So we still wait the restart, which I suspect is because the buggy has got to exit a different part of the perimeter of the ground.
Bit of pressure on Damien Barrett voting on the Norm Smith.
Lots of pressure.
Stuff it right up.
Not a man who handles it well either.
No.
So
you'd see him try and do something clever, couldn't you? You know?
And just sort of thinking outside the box, maybe. Yeah.
I saw that earlier in the year when Wispy Watson took him to task. Really didn't respond well to that at all.
Looking for a tagger somewhere out there. That sort of style that Damo would respect.
Menegola has it. A long-range shot after a big break. He's kicked a thumping ball. A big ball! Menegola from downtown. The Cats have still got life in them. 10-6, 66, 7-8, 50. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard.
How did you think to do that after a 7-minute layoff on that occasion? Just thinking about over and over, I need to kick this goal. I need to kick this goal. I've got to keep warm. And then to go back and just flush it like that. He's already kicked a nice goal set shot tonight. What are his set shots this year, Ash?
Yeah, set shots, Brownie, Menegola, nine goals too.
Well, it gives him a chance.
And I tell you what it is, it's a lesson when you're kicking from that far out. So he ran out. He needed to get that extra swing in his leg for the distance. You never give the goals away, Brownie. Hit it at the right post, just got a little bit of a draw back. It's exact when you're kicking from outside your comfortable distance, that is the exact way to kick that footy. And for a right footer.
Voice of the Duck, regarded as the greatest of all time. Alongside him, Chris Judd. Brownlow's on a couple of occasions. Nate Brown, all Australians. Couldn't be in better hands for this last 7 minutes. That's your Triple M Seabus Super Special Comments team. Seabus, super fun you can trust. And what about that kick from Menegola? You could just see Damien Harvick suck in the air and go, we've got some work to do yet. And Curvis grabbed clean out of the ruck.
Footy.
You have to dispose of it if you decide to take the ball out of the ruck.
In the centre circle.
That rule changed.
You get pride, Duck, but you still probably got to get rid of it. Surge forward by the Tigers in the Lynch direction. Harry Taylor back out there. One-on-one, ground level ball. In came Menegola. He's charging at the ball at the moment. Graham just paddling it to himself, then fell over, then got it to Castagna. Came off the shin of Harry Taylor. And the boundary umpire has seen it that way, so it's out of bounds on the full. And it will be the Tigers who can launch a long bomb inside forward 50.
I'd expect them to be a little bit more boundary focused here, perhaps, Duke, than they were earlier on.
6 minutes 30 left. Dagger in the heart. If the Tigers can convert from here, it's going to be a ball in deep in their forward 50. 6:31 remain in the grand final. It's a 3-1 final term. Tom Lynch, Reece Stanley, Castagna dangerous. Flicked it back. Henry. Ball was touched. Graham came through. Kicked it out in the full. So that's a good result for the Cats. Get access to the ball. And Tom Stewart has it. Nest of players ahead of him, so he just pumps a long one out of there. Stanley in from the side, unable to impact. Short's been really good. Back inside 50, they go! Revolt takes an uncontested mark. 45 from home, can take the full 30 seconds, and if he kicks it, she's all over.
It's a good call, Jim. Jaden Short has been very good. He's worked great at the half-back line, and his ball use, I think he's the number 1 metre gain player on the ground tonight, but it's not so much what he's done when he's had the ball. I think he's been really hard when he hasn't had the football. He's laid a couple of big tackles. He's stood in the hole a couple of times, and outside Dustin Martin and Shane Edwards, he'd be right up there in the voting.
So all of his 30 seconds gone, and the game's on his boot. He's dragged it left. I think it's a behind, but it's 17 points, and we've got 5.5 minutes left.
So this kick is going to come in lightning speed straight up the middle. It's exactly what Tom Stewart does. Big bomb to the goal square, and then Curvis read it. In came Dangerfield from the side. Hughes has been taken high. So can they get something going from here? Hughes has got to get it moving. He looks up. What can he see down there? Needs a contested mark. To half forward. Broad got back. Front and centre Dalhouse. Popped it back to Duncan. Out wide to Myers. In comes Tui. Did well to pick it up. Got a short pass. He wanted Ablett. And Cochin got in front. And the Richmond skipper did what he's done so often, and that is the right thing by his team.
Short ball didn't work. Bolton taken in a tackle. Baker ducked his head. Now he's got to release the ball. Cooley been quiet for him in the grand final. We're going to have a ball up.
Thank you.
Just 10 possessions, Basher Hooley.
Still a missed tackle there by Geelong on Baker. They're the sort of opportunities Richmond tackle the opposition player and they end up turning the ball over. Geelong just missed too many of them tonight.
Forward 50 stoppage. Hooley dispossessed, slapped it forward. Handball missed. Ablett. Stanley just kicked it straight up the chimney. Has not gone far enough. Wobbling ball to the back, and Hooley takes it out, so they get a forward 50 stoppage, the Cats.
Once again, handball to a stationary ruckman. Not ideal.
Got to find a goal here, the Cats. Have to manufacture one. 4:20 on the clock. 17-point margin in favour of the Tigers. Boundary throw-in inside forward 50 for Geelong. Then Curvis in front. Cochin wanted a free kick. Didn't need it in the end. He got it to Marlon Pickett, who kicks it straight to Kolajasny. So it's going to come back. Haven't seen Big Tom Hawkins for a long while. Can they get one in his direction? Big pack forms, then Curvis in the right spot, and the Tiger defence good enough to get it over the boundary line. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard, new range of professional paint now in store. 17-point margin in favour of the Tigers.
And that advantage that they had, you'll watch Nan Curvis will try to get front spot here, and he does.
Almost clean possession. Hawkins slapped out of there by Nan Curvis. They're away, the Tigers. Edwards just goes to green grass. Lynch is back there. Stewart comes in. Got to be clean here, the Cats, and then they've got a counter-attack. Henry slides it over the top. Gets it to Tui. Myers is out on the wing. 3 minutes 30 left. They've got to kick 3 goals to Ablett. Stop-start footy. Last game for this masterful player. Goes long. Fist from Grimes. Hooley underground. Bolton. Baker. And if Lynch takes this mark again, he can take a whole lot of time off the clock. Dropped it, doesn't matter. Edwards' pan's really good. Rioli had a little fumble. Harry Taylor came in. Is this going to be his last game? Coughed it up to Bolton. Bouncing ball. He's going out of play. They'll get a forward 50 stoppage. I reckon they've done enough.
2:58 remaining in the grand final. Joel Selwood behind the play. Having a little bit of a push and shove back there with Liam Baker. Nothing in it. So boundary throwing as the Tigers reset inside their forward 50. They lead by 17 points. In front blitz halves. Picked up by Lynch. Boot to ball. Tom Lynch has put it through for a minor score. Even 3-goal margin. 18 points Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard, 2:48 remaining in this game.
Need to go down the middle again, but they haven't got a lot of players in there. I reckon I'm counting 8 Richmond players. He's kicking 2 to 4.
He's munged a barrel down there too. It was broken up by Buse. Lambert thumped a handball inside 50. Dangerfield just chopped one high. But they've got all the outlets covered here, the Tigers. McIntosh Baker back inside 50. Revolt!
Oh, that's big.
And now he can take the full 30 again. And we'll be inside 2 minutes.
Well, that's the game. I would have thought Duck, he can take his full 30. He's not going to take a second less, and so he should. He's well within kicking distance, albeit from outside the boundary line.
Just a good kick from Baker on the left. Every time that Richmond have needed to make the big play tonight, they have. They've had poise and they've had players that have made the right decisions in the heat of the battle.
Inside 2 minutes now. The Tigers are winning their 3rd flag in 4 years with a surging, emphatic second half. Jack Revolt kicked a goal. That is brilliant. They are celebrating the yellow and black. 11-8, 74 to 7-8-50. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard.
Well, what a team. What a team they've been, and they did it with surge footy again. I would have thought that when Geelong needed to play fast play and kicking that ball in from Tom Stewart from full back, they would have known where the ball needed to go, in the middle of the ground, but they only had 3 players there, and Tom Stewart had to hold up just that little bit to wait for a couple of players to go in. It was a long ball. Still, Richmond probably had 8 to 4 or 5 players. It was an easy exit. They got the ball out, and a player clean again from Baker on the outer side, and the kick from Rewalt was brilliant.
Triple M November stats. Disposals are virtually dead even, but the tackles, 73 to Richmond, which is a season high for them. To Geelong's only 51. 11 majors for the Tigers have all come from Geelong turnovers.
I'd say the one man that could upset Dusty for the norm is, I think he'll win it. But Short has been very good. Nearly 800 metres gained.
It's an enormous effort, Duck, isn't it?
Yeah.
25 disposals. As you said, close to 800 metres gained. You couldn't do much more than that from half back. And what about this now? Time to celebrate for the Tigers. Cochin flicks it out wide. You saw Damien Harvick with a double fist pump in the coach's box, and they can soak in all of these seconds. Minute 30 remaining. Short one is on. And it's in the hands of Camden McIntosh. So he'll win a second premiership. There's going to be some yellow and black celebrations coming up. Long ball to the goal square. Stanley, a nervous one. Here comes Dusty. He's shaping up for a 4th goal.
No
to the boundary
way.
line.
No.
He's got 4. You cannot do it any better than that.
Piss off.
He said, Duck, do you think I won't win it? Got that. It's all mine.
No way.
He's too good.
That's nuts.
4 goals to Dusty. And the Tigers celebrate. 30-point lead. Triple M Bunnings trade scoreboard. What about that, Duck?
He's just a freak, isn't he? Just goes to a whole new level. Just his class. I think when we compare, and I'm not a big believer in comparing eras, Juddy. Like when you can be compared to the on-ballers of your time. But I think the difference between this guy and the other midfielders, and I'm talking of Lachie Nealon, who won the Brownlow medal, and Paddy Dangerfield. He's used to the footy. Yeah. He hardly ever wastes the footy, and the fact that he can hit the scoreboard like he does, I mean, that's what elevates him above all of his, current contemporaries.
But he doesn't panic either. Usually in a grand final, the heat's right on. It takes balls of steel to hold on to a ball for an extended period in traffic, but he's got such confidence in his ability to get out of it. He's one of a kind.
3rd Norm Smith coming his way, surely. 30-point lead for this Richmond Footy Club. Benny Gale said it. We're going to win 3. We're going to have 75,000 members. They've got 100,000. They've been incredible. Full credit to the Tigers. Their coaching staff comes down now onto the ground. They have absolutely turned this club into a dynasty, into a juggernaut. And Damien Hardwick walks out. Congratulations to him, a 3-time premiership coach. Played in a couple. Now he's coached 3. Jack Revolt, we've got 22 seconds left and counting. He can kick his 3rd, by the way. He's just hung that out to the right. So behind We've got 10 seconds left, and the scoreboard reads 12.981 to 7.850. That's Triple M Bunnings Trade scoreboard.
Seconds remaining in the 2020 Grand Final, and it will be the Tigers, their third premiership in 4 years. One of the great teams. Dustin Martin celebrates. Trent Cotchin becomes the only Tiger captain of 3 premierships, and they deserve all their success at the Gabba on this historic night, the first ever night Grand Final, and it's the Tigers who are the champions.
Damien Hardwick and Dusty Martin in a very emotional embrace. Just showing you what it means to these proud people. Just an incredible... With everything, Juddy, they've had to get over this year. All sorts of off-field indiscretions and issues. To manage to still execute on field and do what they've done is quite extraordinary.
They're an incredible football team, but they're an incredible football club as well, aren't they? And that's been shown time and time again this year, their ability to withstand adversity and still front up and produce the goods. It's just been another incredible effort by their players, their coaches and their entire footy club.
Halfway through the second quarter, Nath, they look gone. They look like they had absolutely lost all sense of belief, the Tigers, and that second half was just quite extraordinary.
The Cats had them off the bit. The Cats were running and carrying. They were used to the footballs. We go down to Trent Cotchin.
We're proud. It's been an incredible year. I mean, first and foremost, full credit to Geelong. I grew up barracking for Geelong, and I've been envious of the way they consistently show up every year, and this year's no different. They challenged us, but credit to our boys. They just continue to show the resilience that we know they can, and not just the boys on the field. I'm so proud of the boys that have just come out to the field. They've probably had a more challenging year than anyone without having a second-tier competition, and our fans, well, look at them all here. Everyone back home, thank you so much. It means the world to us, and without you, we honestly we're not here.
Well, you just touched on it. Everybody involved at the footy club, but talk us through the mindset and the mentality of this group, because so much, I guess, has gone wrong. You've had to vacate Victoria. There's been injuries, unavailability of players. There's been off-field sagas, but you've never lost sight of this goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've spoken a lot about the journey, and we effectively celebrated. We came out here, however many days it was ago, about 110, I think it was, treating it like an adventure, and it's been one hell of an adventure. And to finish off with this is just simply outstanding, and I couldn't be more proud of our whole organisation.
Congratulations, Coach. Go and enjoy it. Soak it up. Well done.
Abby Holmes doing a great job, and we see Gary Ablett emotional after one of the great careers. He has finished up 19 seasons of AFL footy for Gary Ablett Jr. And he put his old man on top of that father-son combination that we'll probably, Juddy, never see again.
Probably. They're the greatest combination.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Easily by that far, it's not funny. And it's just a shame. Bad way to go out. Just goes to show you that, these fairy tales don't always end. I mean, you did your knee, obviously, Juddy. And let's go down and have a listen to Shane Edwards.
Make a few movies about this here, I reckon. Well done by the AFL and well done by Geelong. What a game. That was the hardest game I've ever played.
Dusty, he's a pretty special player, isn't he? 4 goals. Do you reckon he's got his third Norm Smithstone up?
Yep. He had it before the game, I reckon. He's just an amazing player to play with. And, I'm going to look back and cherish every game I've played with him.
You are speechless, I can tell. Go and enjoy it. What an incredible atmosphere.
Remarkable.
As I was saying about Gaz, just a shame because he never got a good crack at it, did it?
No.
Did he hurt his shoulder early? So not the way he would have liked to finish in terms of a performance because being injured.
About 300 and something odd games, 19 seasons. He's done it all, hasn't he? He couldn't be too flat on what a wonderful career he's had.
3-5-7, Juddy.
Yeah. It's a lot of footy.
Yeah. He's a classy act, isn't he, Shane Edwards? Just every time I hear him speak, Nate, he's just incredibly humble and spoke in the hub about his idolising of Gary Ablett and being a fantastic player in his own right, that man.
Oh, absolutely. Are we a believer that everyone that plays a game should get a medal? I am. I think if you contribute to the team...
Across the season?
Yeah, across the season. And especially this year. I know it's not going to happen, Juddy, but I think if you play a game, you get a medal. I mean, you know whether you played in the game or not, but I think because of your contribution, every person...
Sort of an I ran in the race territory with the ribbons at primary school, Duff.
No, not that far.
Starting to veer into that sort of territory you are there.
No, not that far.
I'm not sure about it, Duff.
The Cats had them off the bit, didn't they, Jim? They had them off the bit in that second term. Mitch Duncan was running right. Cam Guthrie was getting the ball everywhere. Tom Stewart's positioning was brilliant. And then you go back to that Dustin Martin goal where they were nowhere, the Tigers. They had a minute 30 to go. It was a 21-point margin. Dustin Martin pulled something out. He fended off Kolajasny, and that's why you talk about Dustin Martin in the same breath as like Lee Matthews and Wayne Carey and Chris Judd and these guys who have been the best, because he comes up with the big moments at the big times, and he's a 3-time Norm Smith medalist. That's as good as it gets.
It's nuts, isn't it? Chris Scott, very classy individual, going and congratulating the captain of the Tigers and the coach. And a lot to like about the way the Scott boys carry themselves. But this Richmond side, they're the best team in it 2 years ago too. They should have won that flag. They just got bowled over in a prelim by the Collingwood Footy Club.
By an American.
Yeah, they did. It is just extraordinary what they've managed to do. Amazing.
But Damien Harbuck said at half-time, we just needed to fix up the scrimmages. We were getting beaten around the packs. We were getting beaten when the ball spilled out. And you could see that from the first stoppage of that third term. They went forward and they kicked the goal from that very first stoppage in the third term, and it was game on.
It was the tackling for me, Nate, that stood out. I just think the tackling, the differential between Richmond and Geelong, I think it was 73 to the Tigers, 51 of the Cats, but just their intensity around the ball, and they didn't have it. That's what stood out for me as what was probably the difference in this game of footy.
Normally wins your grand finals heat, doesn't it? Hawthorn might be the only team in modern history that have managed to do it without that being their one wood.
It's one of those things you can build your game around it, and regardless of what the conditions are, you know you can use it. If it's wet, you can tackle. If it's dry, you can tackle. When you build your game around ball use or high marking, you're potentially vulnerable when the heat comes or when the conditions turn against you. But it's been a hallmark of their game, and they were brilliantly skilled at their tackling today.
I think one of the other things that's been extraordinary is when they've had as many issues this year, the Tigers, as anyone else. And I've always subscribed to the fact that it gets you eventually, that you wear a few and eventually it wears you down. There's too much to deal with. They've just found a way to just push forward, haven't they? You look back and think, God, they have handled that amongst everything else as well as you possibly could, Juddy.
I wonder when Trent Cotchin said they referred to this year as an adventure, and when it's how you interpret those events when they happen. And you're right, most clubs interpret them as quasi-disasters and something that you go into your shell and you ruminate on and you stew over it. But looks like Richmond have just treated this as an adventure and they've taken it all in their stride.
But, Juddy, the other thing is, and I want people that support these two clubs to take this the right way, but if you play for Richmond or Collingwood, it happens quite a lot. So if that happens at a club like, I'm trying to think of another, Freo, it derails the whole joint because that never happens there. But for Collingwood and Richmond, actually happens quite a lot. And I think they've just so brilliant at being able to just park it to one side and go, right, we'll let Benny Gale deal with that, or we'll let Dimmer deal with that, and we'll just keep turning up the training and turning up to the games and doing exactly what's been drilled into us for years. I admire the hell out of the way their players can do that.
I think a sliding doors moment. Sometimes Damien Harbuck applied for the Essendon job before going to Richmond, and you look back and you just think, what a find he has been, isn't he? He's one of the great modern coaches now.
Oh, no doubt about that. And just, I mean, how close were they to maybe letting him
2016.
go? It is incredible, given that what they'd done the 3 years prior. But the turnaround to get Nan Curvis, caddy, Prestia in that one. Caddy was an emergency, obviously, but played in the other premiership. So, you know, that one off season, and then to win a grand final.
But the other thing, Nath, about Dimmer I love is they did a strong review, a proper review. It wasn't one of those ones that you bring in so that everyone's happy. It was a proper review, and at the end of it, they went to him. Benny Gale went to him. I think Neil Baum went to him and said, "Listen, mate, if you're going to make a success of this, you got to change. You got to change the way you behave. You got to change the way you handle the playing group. You got to change a lot of things." And instead of doing what a lot of people do, and that's casting that aside and say, get stuffed, I'll do what I want, he listened to it all. My understanding is he completely changed the way he handled the playing group and his own demeanour, and ever since then, they have flown.
I think there was a theory that he brought all his mates in as assistant coaches to start with. They were all players he'd either played with or known along the way, and I think most of those guys got moved on, and then there was a whole new influx of people come in. It was Justin Lepich, I think Blake Carosella was another one who's moved on now, but it sort of changed the club and reinvigorated the club, but it was a big push to have him out. They lost, 11 of the last 13 games. I think they got hammered by over 100 points in that last game in 2016, and then everything changed after that. I can remember that group that was for Richmond who was standing up there to change it to get him out.
Football they were called, Johnny, the Dentist, I remember.
And the club stood fat, similar to what they did with Nathan Buckley at Collingwood. A lot of people wanted him out, but they stood fat, and here they are today, 3 premierships from 4 years.
And Trent Cotchin, the captain, changed the way he played the game, and has become obviously one of the great modern-day leaders now, 3-time premiership captain now.
Because he was under pressure as a captain back then as well.
Well, people were saying...
He was too quiet, he wasn't boisterous enough.
One of the worst captains in the comp, and he was under all sorts of pressure. I mean, his turnaround, to go from... He's a better player, I think, and clearly a better leader now than when he was winning Brownlows and best and fairest.
Accumulating the footy,
Selfish was a term that was being used to describe Jack Riewoldt, to describe Trent Cotchin.
One of the most unselfish players.
They have. I just admire the way they've turned this thing around so much. It's amazing.